Good evening and welcome to Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium, where we're looking forward to the second leg of the MAXICab Knockout Cup semi-final between the Oxford Cheetahs and the REDCAR Bears. A delay to start time with additional track work having been carried out after overnight rain into first thing this morning, and we are looking set for a start hopefully in around about 15 minutes time. A meeting which is fascinatingly poised after the first leg at the Echo Arena on Friday night, when the REDCAR Bears won by 48 points to 42. At one stage they were 14 points in front, so the Cheetahs came back really strongly in the second part of the meeting, and that really sets things up for what should be an exciting deciding leg here, with the Pool Pirates awaiting the winners in the final. They've qualified after overcoming Glasgow in the last week after a semi-final on Tuesday night, when Poole went to Ashfield and were in a difficult situation but still managed to come through overall on aggregate. So as I say, on Friday REDCAR got off to a flying start. They were 12 points up after Heat 6. They then extended to 14 after Heat 9, but the Oxford effort in the closing stages was very impressive indeed. They picked up 4 4-2s in the last 5 races to cut it back to 48-42, the final score, and that then leaves this meeting in a very interesting situation heading into the second leg. As I say, there was some rain, some quite heavy rain passing through overnight into first thing this morning, so this meeting was due to start at 5 o'clock this evening, but there has been additional track work taking place, and hopefully that will be concluded to the satisfaction of all parties, so we'll be able to be good to go to get this second leg off and underway. Well, as far as the team news is concerned, both sides have been having to make change due to injuries or illness. Obviously, the Oxford Cheetahs have been without Jordan Jenkins for some time now due to injury. Kye Thomson taking a guest booking for him at number 2 this evening. Kye involved in the dramatic championship playoff semi-final at Glasgow on Friday night, when the Glasgow Tigers made it through in a last heat decider. And meanwhile, on the REDCAR side, they'll be operating rider replacement here for Eric Riss. They were going to use a guest. They were going to use Michael Palm-Toft in this afternoon's meeting, but I think probably a decision was taken after Michael Palm-Toft struggled on Friday night, and therefore they've decided to go with a rider replacement for Eric Riss in the third heat leader berth this evening. So let's take a look through the REDCAR side, managed of course by Gavin PARR and Charles Wright, riding at number 1, very much one of the top riders in the championship, and a rider who knows the Oxford track very well, having ridden for the Spies in the last couple of years, running with a 9.22 average, and top scored for the Bears in the first leg with 10+2 on Friday night. Riding at number 2 is Jake Mulford, who was a real key figure in that first leg, combined with Charles Wright for 2 5-1s in their first 2 races together, when scored 9, paid 10, has enjoyed a strong run in the closing part of the campaign. Number 3 is Jason Edwards, the exciting British rider. Lots of exciting young talent in the REDCAR side this season, and now very much holding down effectively a heat leader position with the absence of Eric Riss, and a 6.5 point average. Jason Edwards on his night can be worth more than that, as he showed when REDCAR won here in the league earlier in the season, and in early August in fact, when he scored 11, paid 12. It's rider replacement number 4 for long-term illness victim Eric Riss, so the rider replacement outings will be shared between the side, and only Charles Wright can't go, but Danny King can go for an extra ride on rider replacement. That could be important for the very experienced former British champion, who scored 7 points on Friday night, but he and Charles Wright have formed a pretty good spearhead at the Echo Arena in the past couple of seasons. Riding at 6 for the REDCAR Bears, very familiar face around Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium, Jody SCOTT, who has captained the Oxford Chargers to victory and title success in the WSRA National Development League. He rides at 6 this evening. He's partnered at number 7 by another rising talent who's had an excellent second half of the season, picked up some big scores, some big scalps along the way. Ace Piper goes at number 7 for the REDCAR Bears this evening. And team manager, as I say, is Gavin PARR, very much enjoying having REDCAR battling for honours on all 3 fronts this season. Team-wise, they've already also won the pairs. As far as the Oxford Cheetahs are concerned, they have Sam Masters, the captain, riding at number 1, that average of over 10 points a meeting, indication of just what he provides in this league, and he won 3 races on Friday night and was also involved in those 4-2s in Heat 14 with Francis Gusts to cut the gap down to 6 points. So Sam Masters goes at 1. Number 2 is the guest, Kye Thomson, coming in for Jordan Jenkins. Cheetahs not going with the rider replacement operation in this meeting, so Kye Thomson, who's had a good run himself in recent weeks with the Edinburgh Monarchs and scored solidly here in their league victory earlier in the season, he goes at number 2. Running at 3 is Luke Killeen, who had a tough start to the meeting on Friday at REDCAR, but really did bounce back with 2 big race wins in the second part, including a win over Charles Wright in Heat 10 in that one. So we've seen him in good form. He has a great night as well for the Spies in the Premiership against Leicester on Thursday night, and he'll doubtless be keen to impress again. As we're at number 4, Mitch McDIARMID. Tough night for him at REDCAR on Friday. Only scored in his last programme ride, but did take a guest booking for Berwick on Saturday at Workington and contributed well in their victory at the GT Tyres Arena. Riding at 5 is Francis Gusts, who may well have the key to this meeting or this tie as a whole. He had a nightmare start to the meeting on Friday, scoring 2 points from 3 rides. Then he went out and won both heats 13 and 15. Indication of the talent that the Latvian has got, and if he could just put things together over a meeting here at Oxford, that will make this Cheetahs side look all the more stronger and give them a real chance of progression. Riding at number 6 is Jonas KNUDSEN, the Dane, who has missed meetings on numerous occasions this season, unfortunately, which has certainly cost them, certainly gone some way towards costing them several home matches in the championship, but he is a very strong reserve indeed when he is here. And riding at number 7 alongside him, Cameron Heeps, with an average of less than 5 at the moment, but again worth more than that, certainly looking to recapture some of his form. And he, like Jonas KNUDSEN, was a race winner at REDCAR on Friday. Both of them in fact scored 6 paid 7 from 5 outings. Team manager, of course, is Peter Schroeck, who is desperate to take Oxford through and tee up another battle with the Poole Pirates in the final, feeling that didn't quite do themselves justice in the previous time when they met in the BSN Series semi-final, and desperate to try and get another crack at the Pirates in the closing part of the 2025 campaign. So those are the 2 teams on track here this evening. Let's head down to the pitch for the first time this evening, get some pre-meeting thoughts from down there. Let's join Laura Pollard.
Thanks, Dave, and welcome to what is now a sunny evening. Sunny Sundays, but it turns we did have a bit of rain overnight, so just while the team here are working really hard getting the track raceable, we've grabbed hold of Dan Gilkes, who can probably tell you in better technical terms about what's going on the track at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't personally been on the track. I know Jamie's working very hard. Obviously, that's why the meeting's been pushed back. He's trying everything he can to get the meeting on. And obviously, like you said, there has been a lot of rain overnight, which is, kind of made it, I'd say, different conditions to normal. And we all know, like, the way the characteristics of the new engines are and things, when the track is a little bit, not perfect, the bike can pick up and be quite unpredictable. But like I said, I haven't actually been on the track and I haven't seen it. All I know is, Jamie's working very hard to get the meeting on, and and Jamie's been a rider, so he also has a good understanding of kind of where the grip can be on the track and things like that. So he's going to be trying everything he can, and it's a very big meeting, so they won't want to be giving away their home track advantage as well. So that there is. Like I said, it's hard to comment really because I haven't been on it, but I know that Jamie is working very hard.
And like from a rider's perspective, it is a big meeting with the delay and obviously the track conditions not being ideal yet. What can that kind of do to the build-up of the meeting?
Obviously, you as a rider, you're prepared for a 5 o'clock kickoff, as it's what we were. It's been pushed back. There's a lot of talk going around. Sometimes you can get put off by other riders or more experienced riders saying certain things about the track. Obviously, the more experience you get, you can kind of turn off from that and just focus on your own approach to the meeting. But obviously, like I said before, it is a big meeting. They know what's at line. REDCAR have the league to go for. Oxford want to, get through to that final because it's all we've got left. So, like I said, there is a lot riding on tonight's meeting, and I think from Friday, with Oxford keeping it so tight, there's, it gives a bit more of a, not an advantage to Oxford, but it gives us a bit more of a confidence booster that we can turn it around and go into the final. But yeah, like I said, to be honest, the weather's beautiful now. It will dry the track out, and hopefully we should see some good racing.
And yourself, we've seen on social media and in the news that you've had your surgery. How are you feeling? Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's been just over 6 weeks now from the surgery. The first 4 weeks were tough, a lot of swelling and a lack of mobility, but yeah, now I'm out of a brace, and we've got physio twice a week, so yeah, I'm getting better, but it's a good sign, I think. Well, we definitely got one bike started up, so maybe that's a sign we'll get some riding soon, but yeah, personally I'm feeling good. Hopefully get some more movement back in the next few months, and then start in the gym and get myself prepared for next season. Amazing, thanks for helping us waste a bit of time before the start of the meeting. As you can hear, we have got bikes starting to be warmed up now. We'll wait for the official line, but for now I'll hand you back to Dave.
Laura, thank you, and good to hear from Dan Gilkes. So you can see on screen at the moment the referee Simon Humphrey-KENNETT just on the infield there with the tractor still on the circuit. So he has the ultimate decision now as to what goes on here. Once the referee arrives at the stadium, he will obviously take into account the views of the two teams and the two team managers. There was obviously an indication that there would need to be more work done on the circuit as we approach the 5 o'clock start time. So they announced a 45-minute delay. At the moment, the referee Simon Humphrey-KENNETT is explaining to the presenter Richard Palmer exactly what is happening. So we'll hopefully bring you some more news on that shortly. You can see Mitch McDiarmid's bike being warmed up in the pits. So some of the riders are changed, some aren't, so that's an indication that we aren't going to be starting anytime soon, I would say. It's hopefully as soon as possible, but clearly if they get the word that we are good to go, then the riders will have to go and get changed and get themselves turned around. Just reflecting back on Friday's meeting, the first leg, and it was a fascinating contest overall, with REDCAR getting off to an absolutely flying start. Gates 2 and 4 were very good on Friday at the Echo Arena, and they got 4-5-1s in the first 6 races when they had the majority of gates 2 and 4 in those races, so they led 24-12, and at that stage it looked like Oxford were pretty much out of contention, but Oxford then came charging back and they got that 6-point deficit. I think Laura has found another willing volunteer in the pits. Over to you, Laura.
Yet another willing volunteer and also a champion. Senna, congratulations on the result yesterday and MDL champion.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a really good day actually. Everyone chipped in, like I said before, and I think from the get-go on track walk we knew that we had a job to do, and we knew that we wanted to do it there and then, and instead of, obviously if we didn't win we would have been waiting over time to see if we'd have won it or not, so we knew we had to go there and win and get the job done there, and it's exactly what we did.
And ideally we'd have had that sewn up before the day. What kind of pressure does it put on yourself and the team when you absolutely have to win that meeting?
Yeah, there was a little bit of added pressure, but I think on track walk Pete was really good with us. He was like, look boys, if we go out there and ride our bikes how we usually do, we're going to get a result, and the result that we want, so just go out there, ride your bikes, have fun, and that's exactly what we did, and we came away with a result.
And 11 points yesterday for yourself, and a fantastic season on a personal level as well. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I was actually really happy. It was probably my highest score from 4 rides, I think, so far. I only dropped 1, so no, it was a good day for me. I actually really enjoy REDCAR. I think it's not an easy track to ride because none of them are easy, but it's an easier track, which is probably why I like it. But no, I think overall this season's been pretty good for me, considering last season I really struggled being in my first year. But no, it's coming along nicely, and just hopefully I can carry on.
Amazing, thanks for talking to us, Senna. I'll let you get back to the pit bay. So yeah, Chargers are NDL champions, and Senna's absolutely buzzing about that. I'll see if I can find someone else, but in the meantime I'll hand you back to Dave.
Thanks, Laura. Yes, excellent achievement by the Oxford Chargers to become National Development League champions, clinching it with a 60-30 victory at Middlesbrough yesterday. So that one was really never in doubt, but it did turn into a good 3-way battle for that title involving Edinburgh and Leicester. Certainly key meetings back at the end of June when the Chargers took big points against the Leicester Lion Cubs in that rather frantic all-day encounter both at Leicester and at Oxford. And then although they missed out, both sides missed out narrowly in that doubleheader at Edinburgh last weekend, and both got the aggregate point there, Oxford was still heading towards the title, and they got it with an emphatic victory at Middlesbrough on Saturday. So Senna Summers scoring 11 points in that meeting. Jody SCOTT, Daryl Richings also scoring heavily there as well. Back at the preparations for tonight's MAXICAB KO Cup semi-final, and we can head back down to the pits where Laura is with Peter Schroeck.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, so track walk's been going on behind us, and they are still in a huddle, as you've seen on the shots before. I've grabbed Pete to see if we can get a bit of an update as to what's going on.
Well, I don't know myself, to be quite honest. It's it's a difficult situation because it's been going on now for quite a few, well over an hour, and the riders sort of all negging each other out a little bit, sort of thing. So it's hard to get it done, and. We have seen the track a lot worse before, but there's a lot riding on this meeting for probably REDCAR looking at more as a negative than our guys, but unfortunately we get dragged into it, and it's very hard for me to keep it under control. So, we're going to send a couple of riders out, see what it's like. I'm sure they're going to be okay, and then we go from there.
Amazing. I'll let you get back to the guys. Thanks for talking to us, Pete. So yeah, we're still a little bit undecided as to exactly what is going on. Pete seems positive, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'll hand you back to Dave.
Thanks, Laura. Yes, interesting comments there from Peter Schroeck, saying a couple of riders will be going out there, which is something that a lot of people do say, why doesn't that happen more often in situations where there's some uncertainty over the track? Sometimes meetings get called off when there's been no track activity whatsoever. So supporters will quite often, it's a very fair question to say, well, let's actually see some riders going around the track and see how it rides. Of course, what it doesn't do is tell you what happens when four hit the bend together, but it does give you an indication of the way in which the track will ride. So we can head back to the pits now and join Laura.
Thanks, Dave. I'm really lucky to have pits full of people that are useful and helpful today. So, Leon, it's lovely to see you here today, and you're here on the back of what was a tense meeting up at Glasgow.
Wasn't it just? We always knew it was going to be a real fight till the end, but maybe not as much as that. But yeah, I mean, even myself before Heat 12, or even after Heat 12, I didn't really think we was going to do it, and then Kyle and Bomber got that 5-1 in 13, and we really needed a heat advantage in 14, and young Max Perry, made a brilliant start and got that vital third place.
And when you've got riders like Max in your team, who is young, and he was visibly upset after his rides when he hadn't performed maybe as best as he thought he could have done, you guys really pulled together as a team to turn that around and give him a boost. Yeah, we've got it, especially meetings like that. We have to try and make a great atmosphere. Max is, he'll say it himself, he probably struggled a fair bit throughout the season, getting his head a bit mixed up with things that he shouldn't have been, focusing on too much. And I kind of just said to him, go and ride your bike, and it seemed to work. But I still believe that we've got a lot to give. Villards had a bit of a nightmare, obviously crashing out on his first one, and Freddie had an even worse night with two of his bikes not wanting to play ball. So I think there's a lot more to give, and whether it be Pool or REDCAR, we'll be ready. And the atmosphere in the camps was polar opposite. Edinburgh kind of felt calm, and I think maybe they thought they had it in the bag at one point, whereas you come around the corner into the Glasgow pits and everyone's shouting at each other, cheering each other on, numerous team talks. How important is that? It's massive. You don't want to take your eye off the prize. I think on Friday night was the best atmosphere the team's had all year, and if it means shouting "come on boys" or whatever, I'll keep doing it, because it certainly worked on Friday. But again, the whole atmosphere there that night was unbelievable, and it was also good to see, even with the Edinburgh fans and applauding us, and when the Edinburgh boys, they come out, the Glasgow fans applauding them. Obviously is a big rivalry, but at the end of the day, this is Speedway, not football. So it was good to see everyone kind of just enjoyed the meeting. Obviously a few people more upset than others, but
yeah, overall it was a great advert for Speedway.
Yeah, the management called for noise from the Glasgow fans, and they definitely delivered. Also had the world's strongest man there. Has had Freddie Hodder up on his shoulders. Any guest appearances for the final?
I'm not sure, but well, it was a good thing to have him there. If anything happened in the pits, he had a Diet Coke can in his hand earlier in the day, and he made it look like them tiny little 39p drinks. What a unit. Even from being stood up in the pits, and he was stood next to the announcer, he still looked about 6 foot wide. What a monster. But yeah, it's good what Glasgow are doing, getting people in like that. And yeah, it just shows how much they care, trying to promote everything. And you know, even when he was walking around with us at the end, he was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." So it's nice for other, you know, people involved in different sports to come and experience it, and maybe come back. We'll soon see.
Thanks, Leon, and best of luck for the final. Yeah, when Leon says that the world's strongest man was tall, he's not lying. I always think when I interview like Dan Gilkes or Senna's that I have to hold the microphone high, and that was nothing compared to what Greg was having to do. It was right up here. So it looks like, well, in all honesty, not much has changed behind us right now. But we'll hand you back to Dave and see if he's heard anything about getting on track today.
So the riders make their way onto the circuit for the parade ahead of the Oxford Cheetahs against the REDCAR Bears in this MAXICAB Knockout Cup semi-final second leg. We are around about an hour and a half behind where we should be time-wise, but thankfully we do have a meeting to take place, and riders making their way along with the two team managers out for the pre-meeting parade and also the coin toss for gate positions as well. Charles Wright leads out the REDCAR Bears, the skipper, on the right of the picture. Sam Masters on the left leading out the Oxford Cheetahs, having a chat with fellow countryman Kye Thomson on the way. Riders with their first chance, or check out the start line as it is now. They were walking around it not too long ago. I don't think that it would have changed too much, but riders being riders, they will be straight out there to look at the gate positions, and then when the coin toss is made and carried out, and doubtless the riders are out in the early races will be interested to see exactly where they're going to go from. REDCAR Bears having a really good season, battling for success in 3 different competitions. Could be the greatest season really for them. They won the pairs earlier in the campaign at Workington. That was some time ago now, back in middle of April. But now firmly placed in the league, the BSN series, in the playoffs, and in this Knockout Cup semi-final, where the winners overall, with a 6-point gap between the two sides heading into the meeting, and the winners overall will face the Poole Pirates in the final. So Charles Wright comes across to have a quick word and a quick coin toss. And Sam Masters, it would appear, won that coin toss. So the riders are now going to be introduced to the crowd very briefly, and then they'll have the fact that it's a bike parade here will give them all a couple of laps on the circuit. So at number 7 for the REDCAR Bears is young Ace Piper. Good season for him, doing a full season with the same club in the championship has certainly helped out and made good progress along the way. Number 6 is Jody SCOTT, actually in the wrong order bike-wise at the start line there. Well, there is in fact Jody SCOTT next to him. Number 5 is the skipper Danny King. Number 4 is rider replacement for Eric Riss. Number 3, Jason Edwards. Number 2 is Jake Mulford. And number 1 is Charles Wright, the skipper. For the Oxford Cheetahs, here is Cameron Heeps at number 7. Important part for him to play in the meeting tonight at reserve. Should be powerful around this circuit. Number 6 is Jonas KNUDSEN, his reserve partner, and they'll be looking for big points in Heat 2 and beyond in the remainder of the meeting. That is certainly a combination at reserve which could well score decent points. Number 5 is the Latvian Francis Gusts, who started the campaign with the Oxford Spires, but then dropped down to the Cheetahs after losing his place in the top flight side. Mitch McDIARMID, who we saw on track testing earlier on, he goes at number 4. Alongside him at number 3 is Luke Killeen. Number 2 is the guest Kye Thomson, replacing the injured Jordan Jenkins. And at number 1 is the skipper Sam Masters. Those are your riders on parade here for the Oxford Cheetahs against the REDCAR Bears. Couple of practice laps coming up now, and then we'll be good to go with the opening race of this Knockout Cup Cab Direct MAXICab Knockout Cup semi-final second leg. That's coming shortly. 2-minute warning is on for the opening race. Bikes on track. Charles Wright gets the official push start, as does Sam Masters for the opening heat here at Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium. It's been a long wait for the fans, everyone inside the stadium. An hour and 3/4 really after the scheduled start time. The bikes come to the start line. And there is Charles Wright taking the position on gate 4. Next to him, Sam Masters. Clash of the two big guns here in the early stages. Kye Thomson, the Oxford guest, in for the injured Jordan Jenkins. But these are two of the outstanding stars of the championship. And Sam Masters with business to attend to in the top flight as well, with his grand final. He's the vice captain of the Leicester Lions, who face Ipswich. Here's Jake Mulford coming round. Really important start to the meeting for him on Friday, scoring 9, paid 10. Kye Thomson then goes in red off the in blue off the inside in heat 1 for the Oxford Cheetahs. Jake Mulford in yellow off gate 2 for the Bears. Sam Masters in red off gate 3 for Oxford, and Charles Wright in white off the outside. Heat 1 is sponsored by Bet Goodwin, the Oxford Cheetahs main team sponsors, and indeed the stadium sponsors as well. And the crowd who always turn out in force to get behind the Oxford Cheetahs. There are some REDCAR fans here this evening as well, and now we're about to see how this MAXICab Knockout Cup semi-final shakes out. Fascinating contest on Friday up in Teesside. Now we go for the return fixture. Green light on for heat 1, and away they go. And Kye Thomson off the inside makes a good start. Sam Masters is there too, and they forced out Charles Wright, and Wright will now try and burst through on the inside. Stunning ride by Charles Wright, takes him in between Sam Masters and Kye Thomson. Masters will try it back around the outside, and they go back other side. Eventful stuff here. Charles Wright back through on the inside. Sam Masters takes the advantage once more. Kye Thomson involved, and again Charles Wright just about gets the better of Kye Thomson, but Sam Masters has the advantage. That was all action stuff there on the first lap or so, and still Thomson having a go at Wright as they come to start the third lap. Masters with the advantage for the Oxford Cheetahs. Wright in second. Masters certainly establishing himself out in front, with Wright second, with Thomson third. Real battle, with Oxford briefly holding a 5-1 in the early stages. Charles Wright bursting in between, and Sam Masters taking it back around the outside. And the track riding pretty well so far, as Masters race leads here from Wright, with Thomson in third place and Mulford out the back. All action stuff in the opening race here at Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium. Sam Masters over Charles Wright in the opening race, with Kye Thomson in third place, and Oxford get 2 points back in the opener with a 4-2, and some really exciting action along the way as well, as the skipper Sam Masters come through with the victory. 3 points for him, and an important third place, and a very competitive third place for Kye Thomson, suggesting he could be a key factor also in this meeting as we go. But he certainly is a regular race winner around this circuit, and indeed all the championship circuits. Sam Masters, the winner of Heat 1 for the Oxford Cheetahs, and they claw 2 points back. Masters the winner of Heat 1, Charles Wright in second place, Kye Thomson third, Jake Mulford at the back, 4-2 in favour of the Cheetahs, who now trail by 4 points in the tie overall. That's their 5th 5-1 in 6 heats if you factor in Friday as well. Let's have a look back at this opening lap also. This was pretty exciting stuff. So riders in gates 1 and 3 for the Oxford Cheetahs. Charles Wright made a pretty decent start, decent drop, but then didn't make it into the first bend. Tried to go in between here. He definitely gets in front of Masters, hits the front there. Charles Wright in front into the third bend, and then the Oxford boys find the right lines on the exit of bend 4. Thomson rather cuts across slightly, enabling Wright to come back through inside him, and then Sam Masters very strong on the first 2 turns to just clamp off Charles Wright once again and go clear into the lead. Good stuff in the opening race. 4-2 in favour of the Oxford Cheetahs, and the aggregate gap down to 4 points. Here is Jody SCOTT riding in white for the REDCAR Bears off the inside. Will have a key part to play on. Certainly knows very well indeed. But can Oxford as they got a 5-1 in Heat 2 on Friday. Can they repeat the feat here? Jody SCOTT riding in white off the inside. Jonas KNUDSEN in red off gate 2. Ace Piper in yellow off gate 3. Cameron Heeps in blue off the outside. Heat 1 on Friday was a 5-1 to the REDCAR Bears. It was cancelled out straight away by the Oxford Cheetahs in Heat 2 by Cameron Heeps and Jonas KNUDSEN. And they'll be very keen to do so here. And if they could do so here, then they would level the tie after just 2 heats of this second leg. Important to make a flying start if you're trying to claw back a deficit. Jody SCOTT just asking for the green light position there in the white helmet colour. Jonas KNUDSEN alongside him in red. There's Ace Piper in the yellow helmet colour. Ace Piper scored 5 page 7 when REDCAR won here in August, including picking up a very, very impressive 5-1 over Francis Gusts in Heat 4 of that meeting. In fact, in that league meeting, Oxford did take a 5-1 in Heat 2. It wasn't KNUDSEN and Heeps, it was Luke Killeen and Jacob Hook. So, Heat 2, 4-2 on the night to the Oxford Cheetahs. Bikes rev for the second race, and away they go. And Jody SCOTT makes a good one there from the inside, forcing KNUDSEN out. The Piper gets squeezed out on the way into the bend. And now what can the Oxford boys do around the outside? Well, Cameron Heeps finding himself out the back here. It's KNUDSEN with the advantage. The Bears running second and third, and Ace Piper on the outside, Jody SCOTT on the inside. But important here for the Oxford Cheetahs. Can Cameron Heeps make his way through? REDCAR, I think, could be happy enough to share the race, but Jody SCOTT gets out of shape there on bend 2, and Cameron Heeps around the outside, putting Oxford into a 4-2 situation. And now can he go off after Ace Piper and try and reclaim second place? Advantage still with Jonas KNUDSEN here, with Piper in second, with Heeps in third, with Jody SCOTT out the back. Oxford still on a 4-2 here in Heat 2 to keep that momentum going. And can they keep it going even more here with Cameron Heeps trying the outside on Ace Piper? 1 lap to go, and Heeps going wider and wider. SCOTT trying the inside. If Heeps makes a mistake, then SCOTT will be back in the equation. KNUDSEN's got the race pretty much sewn up out in front, but a big dive around the outside by Cameron Heeps. Piper holding it on the inside. Heeps trying right round the outside there, and it's not quite enough. A 4-2 again to the Cheetahs in Heat 2, and this tie gets even closer as Jonas KNUDSEN wins the second race. Ace Piper doing well to hold on for second place, with Cameron Heeps battling away for third, and Jody SCOTT missing out, and the gap between the sides on aggregate is down to just 2 points. Jonas KNUDSEN winning Heat 2 for the Oxford Cheetahs. Very competitive start indeed, because Jody SCOTT made the best one of all really from the inside gate, but he got beaten up on the first couple of turns, and Jonas KNUDSEN is the winner of Heat 2 for the Oxford Cheetahs. Ace Piper rode strongly for second place there for the REDCAR Bears. Cameron Heeps in third place, passing Jody SCOTT there. 4-2 to the Cheetahs, and with 2 heats gone on the night, it's Oxford 8, REDCAR 4, and the Bears lead by 52 points to 50 on aggregate. Let's take a look at this start again here to Heat 2. Rider in white makes a good one here, Jody SCOTT. Looked like he'd forced out KNUDSEN, but that mid-track line there off bend 2 worked out well for the Dane. And then the REDCAR Bears looked like they were going to be content in second and third, riding wheel to wheel there, side by side. And then Jody SCOTT got a bit out of shape on the second turn. There it is, that little lock up there, enabling Cameron Heeps to go around the outside into third place. Another 4-2 to Oxford. Oxford 4-2s in heats 11, 12, 13 and 15 on Friday, and now heats 1 and 2 here at Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium this evening. On we go to Heat 3, where Jake Mulford takes the rider replacement ride in yellow for the REDCAR Bears. Obviously they know that running RR at number 4 means that Jason Edwards will be locked into Heat 14. So it's a question of whether they front load or back load in terms of strength, and where they put Danny King in. They're going with Mulford here in Heat 3. So Mitch McDIARMID goes in blue off the inside. Jason Edwards in white off gate 2. Luke Killeen in red off gate 3. And Jake Mulford in yellow off the outside. Bit of pressure here, I would suggest, on Jason Edwards in white off gate 2. We've seen Jake Mulford run a last place first time out, but they're putting him straight back out here in Heat 3. What can Killeen and McDIARMID do for the Cheetahs? Killeen was up and down on Friday, but he had 2 very fast, impressive wins on his scoreboard. McDIARMID didn't score in his first 3, but then got a useful second place in Heat 14. And this could be a very tense knockout cup tie indeed. Heat 3 at the start line. McDiarmid on the inside, Edwards on gate 2, Killeen on gate 3, and Mulford on the outside. Start marshal walked away, green light, and away they go. Flying start there by Jason Edwards from gate 2. Mulford's been squeezed out from 4, but Edwards here has the advantage. Watch out for Killeen though in red, flying around the outside, and Luke Killeen takes the advantage into the third bend. Killeen over Edwards. Edwards will try the inside again off the fourth turn, and Edwards trying to get back inside Killeen there, but Killeen race leads. And now what can McDiarmid do? Can he put pressure on Jason Edwards as well? Luke Killeen charging off out in front, really is finishing the season in good form. McDiarmid trying the inside run now over Edwards, and they're going to be tight here, and McDiarmid's down the inside here of Edwards. Will need to try and find some speed around the outside. McDiarmid just locked up slightly on the exit of bend 2, and that allowed Jason Edwards back around the outside. This could be yet another 4-2 in favour of the Oxford Cheetahs that would leave the tie all square after 3 heats of this second leg, although Mitch McDiarmid, you can be sure, is still trying to put a challenge in on Jason Edwards. Killeen romping away with it here in Heat 3. What an impressive run he's having in the closing weeks, and he comes off to win the third race. Jason Edwards looks over his shoulder and just defends for second place there from Mitch McDiarmid. 4-2 again to Oxford. All 3 heats tonight have finished 4-2 in favour of the Cheetahs, carrying on the momentum of Friday night, the closing part of that meeting, and it's a 6-point lead now for Oxford on the night, and we are all square on aggregate. What a cup tie we have here. Luke Killeen wins Heat 3, Jason Edwards in second place, Mitch McDiarmid third, 12-6 on the night. It was 39-27 after Heat 11, and effectively after Heat 18 it's now all square. Oxford have come back with a run of 4-2s, not a single 5-1, but 4-2s in almost every race since then, means that we are now all square at 54 points apiece. And have a look at this ride here by Luke Killeen, the rider in red in Heat 3, because Jason Edwards making a great start here from gate 2, clearly into the first bend in front, but Killeen puts the back wheel in the right places, and that really did launch him forward on the back straight. Edwards very fair, as he is a very fair rider, giving Luke Killeen racing room around the outside, and Killeen was always going to take that. Edwards thought about the inside move once again off turn 4, but then Luke Killeen on that fast line and away and gone. So Luke Killeen taking it, and Mitch McDiarmid had a challenge. I thought at this point he might just have the run through on the inside. Actually gets that front wheel just in front, that slight lock up on the way out, and there is a good line on the outside of bend 2, taken by Jason Edwards to protect the second place. 54 points apiece in this semi-final, and no race winner yet for the REDCAR Bears. They will hope that Danny King, the rider there in white, can change that stat. Going off the outside gate, Danny King in this one. His partner will be Ace Piper in yellow, with Francis Gusts and Cameron Heeps going for the Oxford Cheetahs. The Cheetahs can certainly do with that man there in red, Francis Gusts, having a good night on his home circuit. It's going to need to be a full team effort to beat this REDCAR side by more than 6 points. Of course, if we are level after Heat 15 on aggregate, then we would go to a super heat to decide who goes through on aggregate. Long way to go before we get to that stage. So Cameron Heeps here in blue off the inside in Heat 4. Ace Piper in yellow off gate 2. Francis Gusts in red off gate 3. And Danny King in white off the outside. That's the lineup for Heat 4. Nuffield Health are the heat sponsors. And we'll see what Danny King here can do from the outside gate. REDCAR will want to put a race on the board. There's an interesting stat from Friday night that Oxford in the end had 9 heat winners compared to REDCAR's 6. Bear in mind that REDCAR won 4 of the first 6. Heat 4 at the start line, 12-6 on the night to the Cheetahs. And away they go, and a very even breakaway. Good start by Piper. Heeps makes it from the inside. Danny King comes across from the outside, and Gusts has missed out on the first turn. And Danny King goes round the outside to lead here. He has the advantage with Cameron Heeps in second place, and with Ace Piper in an important third place here over Francis Gusts at the back. And REDCAR maybe about to go back in front here on aggregate. Ace Piper trying to make a challenge here on Heeps. Danny King with the lead. It was close going into the first bend, but King found the line around the outside to take the lead. Cameron Heeps in second place has it fairly comfortably here over Ace Piper. with Francis Gusts at the back, which has been a struggle really for him around Oxford since he's joined the Oxford Cheetahs, and Danny King doing the job that the REDCAR Bears wanted him to do in Heat 4 over Cameron Heeps. PIJPER in third place as they start the last lap. This run of 4.2s to Oxford looks set to finally be broken here in Heat 4, and to be broken by a 4.2 in REDCAR's favour. Around the third and fourth bend they come for the final time, and Danny King is the winner of Heat 4. Second place is Cameron Heeps. Third Ace PIJPER with Francis Gusts at the back. First heat win of the meeting for REDCAR, and first advantage of the night for REDCAR, and they edge back in front on aggregate. And it's Danny King doing it for the away side there in Heat 4, and an important third place there. Can't underestimate there the third place for Ace PIJPER over Francis Gusts. So important. Danny King the winner of that one for Heat 4 for the REDCAR Bears. Cameron Heeps in second place. Ace PIJPER in third over Francis Gusts. 4-2 in favour of the Bears. It's now Oxford 14, REDCAR 10, and 58-56 in the Bears' favour on aggregates. Let's take a look back on the start of this Heat 4. They all made the first bend pretty much together. Even getaway, absolutely. Just in front there, Cameron Heeps into the first bend, but Danny King slingshots around the outside. And Francis Gusts kind of goes nowhere on bend 2, enabling Ace PIJPER to take control of third place. Had a little nibble at Cameron Heeps a couple of times, did the REDCAR reserve. Heeps had a very comfortable, solid ride for second spot there, but Gusts could not get into the action. So the early salvos here at Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium see the Cheetahs be fairly happy with what they've done so far. Here's the gating stats with the majority of wins so far, or 2 wins out of 4 coming from gate 3, and also the points there as well. Interesting, the inside not being great so far. Of course, we do see in Heat 1 the bigger guns going off the outside gates, so we'll see how that does shake out as the meeting goes on. We're about to get our first track grading break of the meeting, and Oxford will be happy enough, I think, with what they've done. Got themselves briefly level on aggregate. Yes, they've been edged back behind by that win for Danny King in Heat 4. So 14-10 now in favour of the Oxford Cheetahs. REDCAR 2 in front on aggregate. Let's get down to the pits and join Laura.
Task, and I think, ladies and gentlemen,
thank you, Dave. Joined by Sam Masters. Sam, we finally got underway, and it's been a promising start for the Cheetahs so far.
Yeah, you got to take your hat off to the track staff. They've done an awesome job. It was looking touch and go there for a bit, and Jamie didn't let up. So until we got it on, and the track's probably better than it's ever been all year. So well done to them, and it's good start for us. 4 up now, still behind on aggregate, but early days.
Yeah, it's a really big night for the Cheetahs, obviously chasing down to get into that final, and already clawed back 2 on aggregate. Everybody seems quite positive.
Yeah, for sure. We started good, which makes things a little bit easier to stay positive, and everyone's happy with the track. So we can hopefully build on that now, and hopefully Francis gets going and gets in the points. And it'd be nice to try and have this sewed up early.
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? I'll let you get back. Thank you so much for talking to us. So it's really positive that the Cheetahs, they're happy with the track after the long delay that we had. So what I'll do is I'll pass you back to Dave, and we'll see if we can find someone else to talk to in a second.
Is going round at the moment, but it has to be said the conditions are maybe surprisingly good in the first 4 heats. We've not seen really anybody desperately out of shape. A couple of lockups on the second bend, but that really can be explained by the competition of the event, not so much by track conditions. So they have done a great job. And we have to wait a long time for the meeting, but thank goodness it got the go-ahead, because it's been proven to be completely the correct decision. And I just need to just be careful with maintaining the track conditions throughout the evening. I think probably just again to get a bit of work on that outside there of the first 2 turns. We'll open up some more racing lines as we go, and we have a very, very exciting situation in this Knockout Cup tie. 14-10 to Oxford after Heat 4. 2-point advantage for the REDCAR Bears on aggregate, but certainly indications that the Oxford Cheetahs are very much up for the task here. 3 race wins so far. Sam Masters we just heard from there, Luke Killeen and Jonas KNUDSEN all winning their opening rides, and some battling efforts for third places as well. So a bit of pressure here on the Bears, which didn't look likely in the early part of the meeting, or sorry, I should say in the early part of Friday's meeting, when they were so much in touch, but Oxford have really clawed their way back. Let's get some more reaction in the pits with Laura.
Thanks again, Dave. We've made our way down to the REDCAR end of the pits and joined by team manager Gavin. It got off to a little bit of a tense start, as we've just spoken to Sam Masters about, but things are starting to settle down now.
I think so. I think all the riders, all 14, were a little bit probably over tentative, weren't they? You could see the first couple of races, everybody was spinning, thinking it was going to sort of take off, but actually, I think it's gone quite hard. So we're all sort of changing setups back to what they would normally be on. So hopefully the negativity's gone out the heads. At the beginning, it was very, very grippy, and it did need more track work, which was absolutely fine. But now it looks as if it's an absolutely perfect race circuit.
You've come into tonight with a lead of 6 on aggregate, and the night's far from over. You've got a team of racers. Are you feeling confident?
Confidence probably maybe is we've got people capable of it. I've got riders capable of it. And we know how good Oxford are here. I know we came last time and won, but that means nothing in this. So I think it could well go down to sort of the last couple of heats. I honestly do. Whether my heart can take it, I don't know. But look, as long as we can put on a good performance for the crowd and the people sort of paying to watch, that's the main thing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking to us, and best of luck for the rest of the night.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
So yeah, really positive in both ends of the camp at the minute, which is absolutely great to see. And I think, as you heard there from Sam and Gavin, the track has turned out really, really well. So looks like the tractors are away for now, and I'll pass you back to Dave.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, indeed. The track is riding well, and very interesting comments there from Gavin PARR, saying that the REDCAR boys are now thinking about going back to the setups they would normally use on this track. So it does just show, and well done to the track staff for the work they did around tea time. And as I say, thank goodness they gave the meeting the go-ahead, and thank goodness they went for it, because it's proved to be the correct decision. The other thing that Gavin PARR said was that it could well go down to the closing stages, which would be excellent from a neutral point of view. I'm sure that as the REDCAR fans, you can see on the left of your picture there, on the way into the third bend, they've made their way down to support a team who have been in tremendous form in the second half of the season in particular. They're keen to eye up more silverware. The Oxford Cheetahs, who have come so close to team silverware on several occasions since their return to this level of racing, or the return to racing in total really, back in 2022. Last year, with the frustration of losing 2 grand finals against the Poole Pirates, all the drama of the playoff grand final, and then the knockout cup, where unfortunately Scott Nicholls crashed out in that tangle with Tom Brennan in his first ride of the first leg, that really killed off their hopes in that competition. So trying to make another cup final and trying to give an account of themselves against the Poole Pirates, should they make it. But a long way to go before that stage. We have got 11 heats to go here. REDCAR do still lead on aggregate by 2 points. Charles Wright and Jake Mulford making their way around here for Heat 5. And it will be Luke Killeen and Mitch McDIARMID going for the Oxford Cheetahs. Jake Mulford yet to score so far. 2 last places. The kind of rider who can do that and then pop up with a win. Now sometimes does that in Heat 8. It's his 3rd ride of the meeting. You're going off the inside here in this one, with the clock counting down just above the 1 minute mark. And the lineup for Heat 5 sees Jake Mulford riding in yellow off the inside, Luke Killeen in red off gate 2, Charles Wright in white off gate 3, and Mitch McDIARMID in blue off the outside. Teng Tool sponsoring Heat 5 here at Oxford this evening, and indeed this season. 14-10 in favour of the Cheetahs. 2-point lead for the Bears. 3-4-2s to Oxford in the first 3 races. A 4-2 back to the Bears in Heat 4 from Danny King and Ace Piper to calm their nerves somewhat. But very interesting talk there of setups going back to more normal situation. And Charles Wright doing the work there on gate 3. Mitch McDIARMID on 4. And Luke Killeen on gate 2. Luke Killeen here, can he take the scalp of Charles Wright as he did in Heat 10 at REDCAR on Friday? Mulford on the inside, Killeen on gate 2, Wright on gate 3, McDIARMID on the outside. Star Marshall is ready, here we go with Heat 5, and away they go. And Killeen could get sandwiched there, because Mulford does make the start indeed, and Charles Wright going round the outside, and didn't didn't work out for Oxford, but Mitch McDiarmid now coming into play on the outside, trying to get round Mulford into the third band, and he's done so. That was briefly a 5-1 situation for the REDCAR Bears. Now a 4-2 because Killeen has gone to the back. I thought he might get sandwiched out there from gate 2. He's trying to build some speed to try and recover third place. They won't catch Charles Wright from there. McDiarmid is in second place, Mulford in third, and the big question now is what can Killeen do from the back at the moment. He doesn't appear to have exactly the speed he would want. McDiarmid in second, beginning to gain some ground here on Wright, but he would have to back Charles Wright from there to bring this one home with all his experience and knowledge of the circuit. McDiarmid in second, Mulford in third with Killeen at the back, and with a lap to go, this one is going the way of the REDCAR Bears, trying to re-establish the advantage, 2 points in front overall going into this race. That may well be about to become 4 as Wright leads round turns 3 and 4 for the final time. McDiarmid in second place, and Wright does win it from McDiarmid with Mulford in third and Killeen at the back, and a 4-2 again to the Bears in Heat 5, just gives them a bit more comfort and extends their aggregate lead to 4 points after 5 races, 1/3 of the way through this second leg. Charles Wright in dominant form there, and Jake Mulford with the important point. Every point is vital here. Mulford made a good start from the inside, and whilst he won't be happy with scoring 1 from 3, I'm sure every point you gain is absolutely crucial in a two-legged semi-final. Charles Wright, the winner of Heat 5, Mitch McDiarmid in second place, Jake Mulford in third, Luke Killeen at the back, 4-2 in favour of REDCAR there. Oxford 16, REDCAR 14, and REDCAR lead 62-58 on aggregate. Good starts here by the REDCAR riders. Mulford on the inside, really dropped off nicely off the inside gate here to just about get there in front of Killeen, who didn't have too much room to work with there. Luke Killeen. Charles Wright found the space to get round the outside, and then Mitch McDiarmid with a key move into the third bend to go past Jake Mulford. And unfortunately for Oxford, Luke Killeen couldn't wind up the outside like we know he can to regain third place from Mulford. So good job done there by the Bears in Heat 5. And after seeing their lead whittled away, they're now trying to rebuild it once more. 4 points in front on aggregate. Oxford lead by 2 on the night. Heat 6 at the starting tapes. Danny King here, going off gate 2. Up against Sam Masters, will be on the inside. So line up for Heat 6 with Heat 6 is next up, with Sam Masters riding in red off the inside. Danny King in white off gate 2. It's Kye Thomson in blue off gate 3, and Jody SCOTT in yellow off the outside. Real Mini Company, sponsors of the Oxford Chargers, sponsoring Heat 6, and sponsors of the National Development League title-winning Oxford Chargers, included as captain Jody SCOTT, who's riding for the REDCAR Bears here off the outside. Didn't score in his first ride, Jody. Always tough for a young reserve when you don't score in Heat 2, and then you're finding yourself in really competitive races against established senior riders. Sam Masters, Kye Thomson, his teammate Danny King off gate 2 for Jody SCOTT. So everything that the likes of Scott, Mulford and Piper can get in support of the more established names in the REDCAR side, all important. Clock counting down, 15 seconds to go to Heat 6, with the score at 16-14 on the night, but far more importantly 62-58 in favour of the REDCAR Bears on aggregate. No time for panic just yet, but any 5-1 here would be oh so important. Heat 6 then at the start line. Masters on the inside, Danny King gate 2, and Masters gets the start there from the inside over King, and now what can Kye Thomson do? Jody SCOTT tries to come inside, Thomson turning back, trying to get inside Danny King into bend 3. King has the second place for now. It's Masters with the lead, King in second place, it's Thomson in third, Scott trying the outside run there after bend 4 with Oxford here on a 4-2. Masters a bit wide there, Danny King trying to move on the inside, but Masters knew where the grip was, the fast line was, to get himself clear once more on the back straight, and the Oxford captain here leads Heat 6. King in second place, Kye Thomson third, with Jody SCOTT out the back on the third lap of Heat 6, and Sam Masters stretching clear once again off turn 2. Danny King in second place, Kye Thomson third, and well, at the moment we are trading 4-2s everywhere we go here. Onto the last lap they go. Masters from King with Thomson third. Thomson certainly giving it a go here, trying to build some outside speed here. He's not too far behind Danny King as they head into the final bend. I think King should control that second place from there. Sam Masters off the final turn. Thomson going for a real blast around the outside, and Danny King just about holding him at bay. Great effort there by Kye Thomson off the final turn. Danny King just about to close the gap in a fair way and held second place for the Bears. Sam Masters a convincing winner, And a good scrap for second place, and a great effort by Kye Thomson. So that combination of Masters and Thomson gets their second 4-2 of the meeting, and it really is a tale of 4-2 so far tonight, with that one going in favour of the Oxford Cheetahs. Sam Masters winning Heat 6, second place Danny King, third Kye Thomson, Jody SCOTT missing out, and that means that the 4-2 makes it Oxford 20, REDCAR 16 after 6 heats, and the gap on the aggregate lead is down to 2 points. REDCAR lead by 64 to 62, and fair play Kye Thomson to see him exploring the outside run around the Goodwin Oxford Stadium. And at that point Danny King was looking the wrong way. I think then just in time, he always would leave a bit of racing room there, Danny King, and he did, and Kye Thomson was trying to take it but just didn't quite make it, about half a bike behind at the finishing line. Ace Piper is the rider replacement in Heat 7 for the REDCAR Bears. So they are going to backload effectively in terms of experience and possible point scoring. So they're leaving themselves with Danny King in Heat 10 and Jason Edwards in Heat 14, with a plan as far as Gavin PARR is concerned. We have seen Ace Piper beat Francis Gusts earlier in the meeting, so this race is a key one for the Oxford Cheetahs. It's one that could be a bit of a concern. They do have Jonas KNUDSEN in blue off the outside gate. Francis Gusts off gate 2. That has been a concern at number 5 for Oxford in recent home matches. Jason Edwards goes in white off the inside. Francis Gusts in red off gate 2. Ace Piper in yellow off gate 3. And Jonas KNUDSEN in blue off the outside. This one is hard to call on paper because of the problems that Gusts has had around this circuit. We saw the way he flew away in Heats 13 and 15 at REDCAR on Friday, beating top riders, beating the likes of Charles Wright, Danny King, Jake Allen et al. But it's a different matter really, different kettle of fish around this circuit around Goodwin Oxford Stadium, and all too often the Cheetahs are looking for their reserve to cover in Heat 7, and that could be an important job for Jonas KNUDSEN off the outside gate. We've seen, as I say, Ace Piper beat Francis Gusts earlier in the meeting, and if Jason Edwards can make the start here from the inside, then the REDCAR Bears could be able to extend their aggregate lead. Or can the Cheetahs jump out here from gates 2 and 4? 2 point lead on aggregate for the Bears. Heat 7 at the start line. Edwards on the inside, Gusts on gate 2, Piper gate 3, KNUDSEN off the outside. Start marshal ready, green light on from the referee, and away they go. Edwards does make the start there from the inside, and Gusts though crucially taking Piper wide. And then what will Ace Piper do around the outside? Gusts tried to get past Edwards there, tight into bend 3 between KNUDSEN and Piper, and Gusts has gone well wide there off the 4th bend, and somehow KNUDSEN's got the better of Piper, and Oxford are on a 3-3 situation here in Heat 7. Jason Edwards with the lead here. It's Gusts in second place. It's KNUDSEN in third with Piper out the back, and that could have been worse as far as Oxford were concerned on the opening lap, but Francis Gusts doing a decent job there to get himself into second place, and KNUDSEN in third with Ace Piper trying to reel background in from the back, but it is Jason Edwards from the inside gate who's in control of this Heat 7 for what will be a 3-3 unless Francis Gusts can come with something spectacular on the last lap or so. Jonas KNUDSEN in third place here after a tough scrap on the opening lap. Ace Piper just missing out, and he certainly looked to be in play in the early stages. Jason Edwards in control of Heat 7 for the REDCAR Bears, going to take the checkered flag. Francis Gusts in second place, and with Jonas KNUDSEN in third. That one is shared. Finally we have a break in the run of 3-3s in the meeting, as that race is shared 3 apiece, 4-2s all the way up to that point, but 3-3 there in Heat 7, and the aggregate margin is maintained, 2 points in favour of the REDCAR Bears. Jason Edwards with the win there from the gate, from the inside. Fairly frantic stuff for the minor places behind that, but Oxford coming through with the shared heat. So confirmation of Heat 7, a win for Jason Edwards in white, second in red Francis Gusts, third in blue Jonas KNUDSEN, with Ace Piper at the back. 3 apiece, 23-19 in favour of the Oxford Cheetahs on the night, 67-65 to the Bears on aggregate. Look at the early stages again here of this Heat 7. Pretty fierce competition as well. Once Edwards made the start from the inside, Gusts there just dealing with Ace Piper, taking him wide to allow, trying to allow KNUDSEN to come through. Then for a moment Gusts was trying to get past Edwards, and neck on turns 3 and 4, with KNUDSEN making the inside line work there against Ace Piper. Again looks over his back shoulder, his right shoulder, make sure that his opponent is not going to come back round him. And that was settled there in the 3-3 situation. So midway point of the second leg here. Here's the starting stats. We've now seen 2 wins from the inside gate. That's right by Jason Edwards there doing the job in Heat 7 for the REDCAR Bears, and fairly even from the in terms of point scoring Gate 3, with 12 points so far, the highest at this point. So tractor grading once again here, 23 points to 19. And the Cheetahs have had 4 of the 7 heat wins so far. They have Sam Masters sat on a maximum so far with 6 points out of 6. Jonas KNUDSEN, Luke Killeen also winners in the first part of the meeting. Wins for the REDCAR Bears from Charles Wright and Danny King. And then Edwards, of course, in that Heat 7 that we have just seen. Team talk in the REDCAR pits. Jake Mulford with the white helmet on, about to go again in Heat 8. REDCAR team management having their say. Finding themselves in a very tight, tense Knockout Cup semi-final, which is sat at 23-19 after 7 races on the night, and 67-65 in REDCAR's favour on aggregate. More track work being carried out. It has to be said the conditions have been far better than most people were expecting after the rain overnight and the delay for track work, but conditions really allowing decent racing, and nobody has got into any trouble at all, any track related difficulty in the first 7 races here. And I think if you'd offered Oxford this situation of 23-19 after 7 heats, they would certainly have taken it, but what either side would give for a 5-1 this evening at this point. Peter Schroeck having a word there with Francis Gusts. Be more encouraged by the ride he's just seen from the Latvian in Heat 7. Sam Masters chatting away in the pits. Luke Killeen be trying to correct whatever it was that caused him to run last place in Heat 5. And all hoping here in the Oxford camp that they will get the job done here and have 2 more meetings to come against the Paul Parrots, because if they go out on aggregate here tonight, then their season at championship level and their season as a club is over. They won the National League yesterday in their final meeting. They raced their final Premiership meeting on Thursday, and this would be their final championship level meeting, if they go out on aggregate. So lots of incentive for these boys to come through overall. But REDCAR's incentive is also there. Different situation for them. Definitely still fighting on in the various competitions. They are looking to book themselves a Knockout Cup final place. The MAXICab Knockout Cup this season. Competition they have won before. They had a decider against the Newcastle Diamonds back in 2019. So the tapes are being put back into place after a brief track grade between heats 7 and 8. And we look at the lineup for Heat 8, which I don't think we'll see any changes. It will be 2 on the trot for Ace Piper, but the track grade's taken place. Obviously only reserves can come in at this point in time. No rider replacement in this one. And for Oxford, Cameron Heeps will definitely be continuing in this one, and for REDCAR they have Ace Piper in the race, and of course Jody SCOTT has yet to score so far, so there's nothing much to do for the team managers here other than to try and motivate their riders. Peter Schroeck there having words with Kye Thomson and Cameron Heeps. Tate Mulford sat beside the machine, and Ace Piper having his second ride in succession will be going in this one as the 2-minute warning comes on from the referee. Cameron Heeps gets the goggles on, Jake Mulford and Ace Piper making their way onto the track. And yep, really important. Well, they're all important really now. They're all important races, because any incident, any setback, any moment of drama that can really turn this tie. Oxford, I think, will want to try and find something in this portion of the meeting where there's no Charles Wright until heat 11. They'll want to try and get something if they can edge themselves in front. They know that they're going to have potential race winner in heat 13 and 15 in Sam Masters. Will they have someone to go with him in those races against the likes of, you assume, Charles Wright and Danny King? Or if the team manages to work out towards the end, if they're going to go to the wire here in the Knockout Cup. Heat 8 at the start line with Ace Piper in yellow off the inside for the REDCAR Bears. 3 points so far for him. Cameron Heeps in blue off gate 2. He's also got 3. Jake Mulford with 1. He's in white off gate 3. And Kye Thomson with 2. Hard earned 2 points so far for Kye Thomson. He goes in red here off the outside. 23-19 in favour of the Cheetahs on the night. 67-65 to the REDCAR Bears on aggregate. Can't overstate that 14-point gap that existed halfway through, just after halfway through Friday's first leg. And what a tense cup tie we have ended up on our hands here at Oxford this evening. So here we go with heat 8. Ace Piper on the inside, Cameron Heeps on gate 2, Jake Mulford gate 3, Kye Thomson off the outside. Heat 8 gets underway, sharp start by Cameron Heeps there off gate 2 to outgate Ace Piper. And now what can Kye Thomson do from the back? Mulford trying to go around the outside, and Jake Mulford gets around the outside there into the third bend, gets the better of Cameron Heeps. But here's the run by Kye Thomson trying to get right round. Superb ride. Kye Thomson goes from third to first, and he race leads here in heat 8 with Mulford in second place. Heeps in third with Piper out the back, and now we know Cameron Heeps can make those outside moves. He's done so several times in the last few years. He's trying to do so, but to be fair to Jake Mulford, he's read that situation. He's maintained second place, and he knows that Cameron Heeps may well want to ride wide himself. It's going to be Kye Thomson with the lead still. Jake Mulford in second, Cameron Heeps in third, and we could be back to 4-2s here with Ace Piper at the back. Mulford locks up slightly off the fourth man, but still maintains his second place. Kye Thomson maintains the advantage. I think Cameron Heeps here settled for third place and a 4-2, which would bring things back all square once more. Fine ride by the Oxford guest here, Kye Thomson in heat 8 over Jake Mulford with Cameron Heeps in third place. And Ace Piper at the back, 4-2 there to the Cheetahs, and we're back all level again on aggregate. 27-21 on the night, and all square 69 apiece on aggregate. And it really is such a close fought contest here, and Kye Thomson certainly justifying the guest booking for the Oxford Cheetahs with that win in heat 8. He's been competitive earlier in the meeting too, and Thomson the winner of that one with Jake Mulford in second place, Cameron Heeps in third, Ace Piper at the back. 4-2 to Oxford. They've had more 4-2s to go in front once more. They lead by 27 points to 21 and 69 all on aggregate. Let's take a look back at the ride here of Kye Thomson in heat 8 from the outside gate. And really had to work for this one because he was last going into the first bend. You can see there, engaged on a 3-3 situation. Mulford first of all going around the outside, Thomson going third past Piper, Mulford going past Heeps, and then third to first here from Kye Thomson off the fourth bend. Clearly in front there into lap 2 over Jake Mulford. And for a lap or so it looked like Cameron Heeps might try and follow him through, but in the end had to cut back and be content with third place at the 4-2. That goes with it. So all level, all square on aggregate, and heat 9 is coming to the start line. There is Mitch McDiarmid going in blue here alongside Killeen with Danny King and Jody SCOTT for the Bears. Danny King off the inside here for this one, sponsored by SD Tiro Car Sales Limited, and Danny King, as I say, off the inside gate. Mitch McDiarmid in blue off gate 2, Jody SCOTT in yellow off gate 3, and Luke Killeen in red off the outside. SD Tiro main sponsors of the Oxford Cheetahs this season. Great backing from the sponsors. Ben Goodwin putting the name to the Oxford Spires, SD Timo to the Oxford Cheetahs, and we'll now community company again with the Oxford Chargers, the title-winning Oxford Chargers. So heat 9, Danny King on the inside, Mitch McDiarmid on gate 2, Jody Scott on gate 3, and Luke Killeen off the outside. Heat 9, 69 points apiece on aggregate. Nothing to choose between Oxford and REDCAR. Can we find a way through here in heat 9? Green lights on from the referee then, away they go. McDiarmid lifts off gate 2 and Danny King gets there in front, and Jody Scott chops back here for the inside, and now Mitch McDiarmid goes round him and tries to go inside King, and Jody Scott battling with Luke Killeen up on the 3rd and 4th bend, the 3-3 situation as things stand. Danny King gets himself out in front of Mitch McDiarmid in 2nd place. Luke Killeen in 3rd, gets very tight to his teammate, and Luke Killeen is down heavily into the fence. That could be disaster there for the Oxford Cheetahs in heat 9. Killeen and McDiarmid on a 3-3 situation, but Killeen just got a bit too close to his teammate McDiarmid and spun it round and crashed into the fence there on the 2nd bend, and that will be disqualification for Luke Killeen. Let's hope he's going to be okay. A big crash here on Thursday actually in heat 2 when he got out of that one okay, but so many turning points in cup ties such as this, and every point gained and lost can make all sorts of a difference. So Mitch McDiarmid, thankfully he wasn't brought down in the incident, but as Cameron Heeps walks out to check on his teammates, that is definitely points gone for the Cheetahs with that crash for Luke Killeen. Always giving it his absolute everything, but just found himself in a tight spot there, very close to his teammate on the apex. He's walking away, which is good to see, but it will be real frustration. Let's watch it again here. McDiarmid in 2nd place, Killeen in 3rd. As they go into the 2nd lap, Killeen's got bags of speed there and just has to readjust to try and avoid clipping his teammate, and then he backs it in and goes into the fence. And that's what you do occasionally, unfortunately, get with young riders looking to chase the same lines on the circuit. So Luke Killeen up and down, great win in his 1st ride, last place in his 2nd ride, now a crash in his 3rd ride. And it is a disqualification for Luke Killeen in heat 9. It will be a restart with 3 remaining riders and a chance for the REDCAR Bears, who was a 3-3 at the time of the stoppage. But they'll go again. Pressure will be on Mitch McDiarmid to do what he can against Danny King and Jody Scott. You see Luke Killeen's perfectly okay, that's good to see. Not injured in the crash, so get down to work on the bike because he's got an important race to come in heat 12. You have to put those kind of incidents behind you. Charles Wright just assessing the situation for the REDCAR Bears. 2-minute warnings back on for the restart, and the REDCAR duo Danny King and Jody Scott making their way back onto the circuit. They'll be joined shortly by Mitch McDiarmid. And Danny King with 5 points from 2 rides so far. Such a wily old campaigner to have in these sort of situations, and we know that he'll be going in heat 13 along with Charles Wright. Who knows if it's important times. You'd expect heat 15 as well for Danny King. They will fancy their chances here, REDCAR, of a 4-2 to edge themselves back in front overall. Quiet week coming up in the UK. We'll see Speedway of Nations next week. Danny King here in white off the inside, Mitch McDiarmid in blue off gate 2, Jody Scott in yellow off gate 3 with Luke Killeen disqualified. Yeah, quite a week coming up with Speedway Nations, so no Speedway in the UK until an individual meeting at Killeen on Thursday. REDCAR running National League with Middlesbrough on Friday. But it all kicks off again next Sunday with the REDCAR pool tie Championship playoffs. know as yet when the MAXICAB final dates would be, whoever it is who goes through. So, restart of Heat 9. Danny King on the inside, Mitch McDiarmid getting to Jody SCOTT, gate 3, green light, and away they go. Once again, Danny King messes on there from the inside gate, he's moving aside. Mitch McDiarmid on the first 2 turns, goes wide to try and pick up the drive. McDiarmid tries the inside into the third bend, but King controls that one into turn 3. Now watch out for Jody SCOTT in yellow on the outside, trying to pick up drive, but McDiarmid has to watch out because Jody SCOTT's right there in contention as they go around turns 1 and 2 for the second time. Danny King in control of Heat 9, doing exactly what REDCAR would have wanted, to edge them back in front. A real race on here for second place because Jody SCOTT having a right go at Mitch McDiarmid, maintaining the second place for now. And this should get very tight for the second place. Jody SCOTT not content to sit there for that position for that third place. He's trying to go for second as he tries to cut back off the fourth bend. Last man flag is out for Danny King with the lead. McDiarmid in second. Scott trying all sorts of angles in third, trying to work an opening here on McDiarmid on the back straight for the final time. Danny King race leads his end convincingly out in front. McDiarmid should maintain second from there. Scott with the cutback, King with the win. Second McDiarmid, third Scott. 4-2 to REDCAR in Heat 9, and they get themselves back in front by a couple of points with 6 heats to go in this MAXICAB KO Cup tie. A second win of the meeting for Danny King for the REDCAR Bears. He wins it from Mitch McDiarmid. Jody SCOTT, after a hard charge there, gets his first point of the meeting in third spot. Luke Killeen, of course, crashed out in the first staging. Danny King, the winner of the race. Second place, Mitch McDiarmid. Third, Jody SCOTT. 4-2 there to REDCAR Bears, and they hit back and get themselves back in front on the night. 29-25 in favour of the Oxford Cheetahs. On aggregate, the Bears lead by 2, 73 to 71. Here's the replay of the start. Danny King makes it nicely from the inside gate. Mitch McDiarmid there just having to settle in second. For a brief instant there, thinking about the inside into the third bend. Danny King controlled it very well. And then Mitch McDiarmid coming under a bit of pressure there from Jody SCOTT, but maintained that second place. But it is REDCAR who edged themselves in front. Danny King will take rider replacement in Heat 10, so 2 on the trot for him. Strong Heat 10 on the way. This could be very key in the meeting, and Danny King will have the inside again in that race. Just watching this scrap here between Mitch McDiarmid and Jody SCOTT. Fair play to Jody SCOTT. He had a right go for all 4 laps. Had there been a big mistake there by Mitch McDiarmid, then certainly Jody SCOTT would have been there to pounce. So McDiarmid maintaining his line for second place throughout that race. 4-2 there in favour of the REDCAR Bears. So 29-25 on the night, and 2 points, 73-71 in favour of REDCAR. 3 wins now from the inside and 3 wins from gate 3. So gates 1 and 3 are doing the job here tonight. They are preferable, but certainly not as dominant as they were on Thursday, when gate 4 was very difficult indeed, and the point scoring is pretty evenly spread. 29 points from 1 and 3, but 25 from 2 and 4, so not too much in that one. Bike's getting ready here for Heat 10, and quite some lineup here for this one, with REDCAR bringing in Danny King. This is the advantage of leaving your stronger riders from towards the end on rider replacement. They had to leave Edwards for Heat 14, so Jason Edwards with a big part to play in the remainder of this meeting, because he's got 3 riders to come. He's got Heat 10, 12 and 14. Danny King going with him here. They are still 2 points in front on aggregate. A couple of times the Cheetahs have clawed their way back to level the aggregate scores, only to be frustrated straight away when REDCAR have taken 4 twos to get themselves back in front. But a really tight semi-final. Certainly could still go either way. Sam Masters and Kye Thomson on the circuit here for Heat 10. Jason Edwards and Danny King going for the Bears. What a good season it's been for REDCAR. I was talking to Gavin PARR on Friday night before the first leg, and he was of the view that, well, if nothing else happened for REDCAR, it would be a good season, but having got to this point with big meetings to come, you want more big meetings, you want more finals, you want more trophies, so that's what REDCAR are aiming for. Oxford desperate for trophies trophy themselves. Big crack and pull in the cup final. Danny King here, rider replacement of the inside in yellow, with 8 points so far. Kye Thomson in blue off gate 2. Jason Edwards in white off gate 3. Sam Masters in red off the outside. County Plumbing Supplies sponsoring Heat 10. And this one, with a strong lineup, could be all important. They all could be all important. It's very hard to say which will be the most important. We've seen point drop there by Luke Killeen in Heat 9 with the crash on the second lap. Yeah, we're desperately hoping that there isn't a really narrow margin between the sides in REDCAR's favour come the end. Certainly can't stop riders from racing and going for it. The crowd getting behind their riders. A really tense atmosphere here in the closing part of this semi-final. REDCAR 2 in front on aggregate. Heat 10 start line. King on the inside. Thompson gate 2. Edwards gate 3. Masters on the outside. Masters ready. Green light on for Heat 10. Away they go. King again makes it inside. Masters does not make it. Edwards tries to cut back. Masters turn back completely. But gets clamped off by Edwards. Important here for Kye Thomson. Kye Thomson gets through in second place. Masters moving inside Edwards into third. Danny King with the lead, and Masters makes sure that Jason Edwards can't get back round him. But Danny King is in the lead here for the REDCAR Bears. Kye Thomson in second place, Masters third, and that was as competitive as we thought it might be on the first lap or so. Sam Masters finding it tough there from gate 4, and Danny King from the inside taking full advantage. Kye Thomson in second, Sam Masters third. A 3-3 here will maintain REDCAR's narrow advantage on aggregate as Danny King race leads into the third and fourth bend for the third time. Kye Thomson in second, Sam Masters in third. They're riding much wider now up on that top turn than earlier in the meeting, and with 1 lap to go, Danny King looking set for his third win on the night. He's in great form, looking to go on to 11 points out of 12. The rider replacement comes round to win heat number 10. Second place is Kye Thomson. Third, the skipper, Sam Masters, with Jason Edwards at the back. All very tight there in the early stages. 3 apiece is the outcome of the race. And Kye Thomson doing an important job again there, certainly justifying his guest booking with 7 points from 4 rides for the Cheetahs as he comes back in. But Danny King doing a great job so far for REDCAR, 11 points from 4 rides. And he's had 2 inside gates in heats 9 and 10, and he's taken full advantage. Danny King the winner of heat 10 for the Bears. Kye Thomson in second place, Sam Masters third with Jason Edwards at the back, and the 3 apiece there lead after 10 heats of this second leg. It's Oxford 32, REDCAR 28, and still a 2-point margin, 76-74 in favour of the REDCAR Bears. It could go all the way. Let's have a look at the start of heat 10 once again. King makes a good one from the inside. As you'll see, he outgates Kye Thomson. Masters immediately cutting back. The way is blocked briefly by Jason Edwards. Crucially, Kye Thomson around the outside to second place, and then Masters gets down the inside of Edwards and just basically keeps on going. Make sure that Jason Edwards can't recover around the outside. 3-3 the outcome, and still absolutely everything to ride for. 32-28, and heat 11 on track. Francis Gusts and Jonas KNUDSEN for the Oxford Cheetahs. Charles Wright and Jake Mulford going for the REDCAR Bears. Here is Francis Gusts, who had an encouraging second ride here, finishing in second place. Got this inside gate here. Can he get off the inside, which we've seen Danny King do successfully in heats 9 and 10. So there's the face of concentration on the Latvian rider. Gus off the inside here in heat 11. Charles Wright in white off gate 2. Jonas KNUDSEN in blue off gate 3. Jake Mulford in yellow off the outside. Certainly Sam Masters showing in heat 10 there how hard it is off the outside in a race where you have riders of fairly equal standard. And with that coin toss, you know that REDCAR will have gate choice in heat 15. Shouldn't go that far as the aggregate situation is concerned. At the moment, everyone looking at that score at the very bottom of the screen, 76-74. All about who can get that aggregate victory. Can REDCAR defend the 6 on the first leg? Can Oxford exceed a 6-point victory here at Calgary this evening? Clock counts down then on heat 11. Tense times, crucial part of the Cup semi-final. Francis Gusts here on the inside gate. Charles Wright on gate 2. Jonas KNUDSEN on gate 3. And Jake Mulford on the outside. 2-point lead overall for the REDCAR Bears. Away they go, and Charles Wright makes a fourth start. Gus makes a good one. Knudsen makes a good one. Mulford missed out from the outside, and Charles Wright now has a job to do. It's Gus with the lead. Charles Wright in second place. Knudsen in third, and a 4-2 here for Oxford to try and level up overall. Gus leads from Wright, will turn back from the inside as they start the second lap. Well, Francis Gus has not won too many heats for the Oxford Cheetahs around this circuit this season. He'll try and win a big one here against Charles Wright with 2.5 laps to go, and Wright going wide on the third and fourth bend. Gus trying to cover him, Wright trying to cut back there with 2 laps to go. It's still Gus from Wright, it's still Knudsen in that third place over Mulford. Wright trying to slingshot back through on the inside here. Gus with the speed round the outside to maintain the lead, and then will he run across the corner on bend 4 as Wright tries to turn back, and Charles Wright's hard down the inside, and Charles Wright's inside Francis Gus here, and Gus rides superbly to hold him at bay. Gus back around the outside, Wright in second place, Knudsen in third, and Wright will try one last blast here on the outside, or maybe a cutback off the final turn. It's Gus and Wright's the checkered flag, and Charles Wright makes it. What a race there in heat 11 between Charles Wright and Gus, and it was close for third too, with Mulford finishing fast against Knudsen. Charles Wright superb off the final bend there. Francis Gus had ridden a brilliant race there to hold the advantage. I thought he just got it, but Wright came through on the line to win it. I can tell you that Knudsen did hang on for third place over Mulford for the 3-3, but watch this, Gus just locked ever so slightly, and Charles Wright got the wheels in line and charged through, and by half a bike Charles Wright wins heat 11 from Francis Gus with Jonas KNUDSEN in third place. That was some race there, race of the night so far, and until that final bend, that was going to be Francis Gus' best ride in Oxford Cheetahs colours, holding off Charles Wright, because there was some attack by Wright heading into the last lap. But the REDCAR skipper gets the win just on the line from Gusts, with KNUDSEN in third place and with Mulford at the back in a shared heat. Means that we're still in the same situation. Oxford 35, REDCAR 31. REDCAR lead 79-77 on aggregate. So close, Oxford could have been in front here, but for the Killeen fall in heat 9 and the right pass on the last bend of heat 11. 4 wins from the inside gate so far, 2 from gate 2, including that one from Charles Wright, so that's not really a gate stat as such, because Charles Wright winning it from the back very much so. He spun completely off gate 2, it must be said, and was actually outgated by both Gust and KNUDSEN, so a fine effort by Charles Wright to win that race. Really had to work hard for it. 35-31 is how we stand heading into what I think will be a fairly brief interval at this stage. More track grading, and such a close contest overall in this Knockout Cup semi-final. 2 points the REDCAR lead, 4 heats to go, and you can just look at where things might be won and lost in the closing stages as the tractor comes back on the circuit ahead of heat 12. We'll do some preparation work with the track staff just going for a quick break. The 2 team managers will be having their say. Really, it's their last chance for a major team talk now, with 4 heats to go, because when we get back into action, heats 12, 13 and 14 will come up fairly quickly. It could be all over by then, but the way it's gone, a meeting where we've not seen a single 5-1 all night. We've not seen a 5-1 since heat 6 of the first leg. That's how tight and closely competitive it's been. Have 35-31 on the scoreboard at this stage. Such a tense meeting, such a tense contest. Let's find out how things are in the pits with Laura.
Thank you, Dave, and here with Kye, who has stepped into the guest spot for the Cheetahs this evening, but you look very at home.
Yeah, always love coming to Oxford. It's a nice shaped track, and yeah, after earlier conditions weren't so great, but they've done a great job, and you couldn't ask for any better conditions now, so it's awesome.
You look really chilled out earlier. Everybody was tense and not changed, but you were in your Kevlars just ready to go.
Yeah, they wanted someone to test, but it's probably not really my place to do that, so I just got my gear on, I was ready. I thought the track was fine, so no, I was just getting ready to go out and attack it.
It's really close on the aggregate score, just 2 points in it really on the aggregate. What's it like stepping into this kind of intense meeting as a guest?
Yeah, you're just trying to do your best. You don't want to let the team down, because they've called you to do a job for them. So yeah, I'm just trying to do my best, and hopefully they're happy.
Thank you very much. I'll let you get back and get ready for your next race.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, it is. It's quite tense down here, as I'm sure you can imagine. Both teams having team talks, kind of left, right, and centre. But we will see if we can get anybody from the REDCAR camp for you. In the meantime, I'll hand you back to Dave.
Laura, thank you. He's done a great job, Kye Thomson, with 7 from 4, and it's an interesting point when Laura says get ready for his next race. Well, that could be Heat 15, because he scored 7 from 4. And as ever in the Oxford middle order, it's hard to find consistency, and Kye Thomson might just be that pick for Heat 15 to go with Sam Masters. It's not easy because he won't have gone since Heat 10, and there's also this interval as well, so it's never easy for a number 2 rider to go in Heat 15 at home, but that may be the call depending on how riders get on in Heats 12, 13 and 14, the likes of Killeen and McDiarmid and Gusts. We shall see. But that will certainly be an option available, because Kye Thomson has rocked up here and been very competitive indeed, as we thought he would, and certainly 7 points from 4 rides is a worthwhile effort as opposed to rider replacement. Yes, if they use rider replacement, they're pretty much guaranteed a victory for Sam Masters in Heat 8, but with what's been going on elsewhere in the team, couldn't guarantee too much elsewhere, so it's certainly been the right move by Peter Schroeck to bring in the guest in Kye Thomson to ride at number 2, and he's repaid them with 7 points from 4 rides. But will he go again in Heat 15, and will it be a crucial Heat 15 by that stage? REDCAR still 2 points in front on aggregate, but they are being forced into a real defensive battle here at Killeen tonight. An Oxford side who in their last 2 home matches have been beaten by Poole, the Oxford Cheetahs, but putting in a fully committed display, as the manager said they would, to try and take things right to the wire. But I'm sure they'll be keen to try and get something from Heats 12 and 14, knowing how strong REDCAR are in the closing stages. Let's find out more from the pits with Laura.
Thanks, Dave. We've made our way down to the REDCAR camp, where I've got to say everybody is super focused, but we've grabbed Jake for a quick chat. It's really close on the night, and it really is nip and tuck, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been some good riding, so yeah, obviously it's good just to get the meeting on is a good thing. So yeah, I think the meeting's close and it's tense times, but it's good for all the team spirit. It becomes good racing.
Understandably, there's been quite a lot of talk about the track this evening. How has it changed as the night's gone on?
It's actually quite good, considering when we first turned up. They've actually done a really good job of the track to get rid of what looked like a ploughed field, really. So yeah, it's been good, and you've definitely got to ride wide. There's not too much on the inside, obviously, because they had to grade it all off from the conditions earlier. So yeah, the track's good.
And on a night like this, how important is it to make a really good start?
Very important, and I've not made that, but from my first couple of rides to then my last couple, I'm quite happy with myself. Like, I've improved a lot from the start. So, but yeah, obviously if you can make a start, that's a massive thing, especially when the points are so close.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking time to speak to us. I'll let you get back. Thank you. Yeah, really close, and a lovely positive interview there from Jake. He's had a tough night, definitely, but as he said, definitely improved as the night's gone on. And let's have a quick look behind us. Yep, tractors are away, so I'll hand you back to Dave, ready for some on-track action.
Yes, 3 points from 5 rides for Jake Mulford, who it must be said is used to riding the odd plough field or two, being a grass track and long track expert, and really impressive showing from him last week in Rodin in the last round of the Long Track World Championship, where, but for a tapes excursion in his last ride, he could well have made the final of that meeting. That's certainly giving him food for thought, I'm sure, going into next season, the possibility of really excelling himself at that level, making good strides too in the Speedway world. Had a full season with the Bellevue Aces in the Premiership as a rising star, and certainly playing his part with the REDCAR Bears at championship level as well. The track staff and officials making their way back on to the circuit, the tapes being brought back down again for 4 crucial races at the end of this meeting to sort out who goes through into the MAXICAB Knockout Cup final to face the Poole Pirates. And we're still really nowhere near knowing. Oxford have never managed to get themselves in front on aggregate, but don't forget that playoff semi-final between Edinburgh and Glasgow. The Glasgow Tigers never led the tie until Heat 15, until about probably think, was it lap 1 of Heat 15? Certainly Kyle Howard bursting through and Chris Harris bursting through, and that was the first time they led that tie. So it can go right down to the wire, and well, this one could, but certainly any big advantage for either side here is going to be massively, massively important. Jody Scott first on track for Heat 12 for the REDCAR Bears, joined by Luke Killeen. Jason Edwards, his third ride of the meeting, 5 points from his first 2, then a last place in his third ride. 1 and 3 for the Oxford Cheetahs. Luke Killeen will have the inside gate next to Jody Scott there. Cameron Heeps, job for him to do on the outside, on the outside gate 3, I should say, the outside of the 2 Oxford riders, with 4 points from 3 rides so far. Every race advantage now critically important in this cup tie. Here is Oxford's Cameron Heeps on track, plenty of time to make his way round. Who's it going to be in the Knockout Cup final? Luke Killeen here off the inside in red, Jody Scott in yellow off gate 2, Cameron Heeps in white off gate 3, and Jason Edwards in white off the outside. Can Edwards make it here from gate 4? Tough job for him, I would fancy. And Oxford hoping that Luke Killeen can make a start, get himself on the dirt line and away. And what can Cameron Heeps do as well? REDCAR still just in front on aggregate, but they've been given a real battle here. 79-77. Where are we going to stand heading into massive Heat 13, where Oxford will look to their skipper Sam Masters, Charles Wright and Danny King will be going for the REDCAR Bears. Jody Scott's almost tickled up with the tapes there on gate 2. And here we go with Heat 12, 35-31 on the night, 79-77 in favour of the REDCAR Bears on aggregate. Are we going right down to the wire? Going right down to the 2 minutes anyway. Heat 12, Luke Killeen inside, Jody Scott gate 2, Cameron Heeps gate 3, Jason Edwards off the outside to get underway. Needs to start by Killeen there from the inside gate. Now what can Heeps do? Try and back him up, because Edwards here at the back from gate 4. Round the outside comes Jody Scott. Jody Scott goes round Luke Killeen into bends 3 and 4. That could be a massive ride there for the REDCAR Bears. Jody Scott race leads here from Killeen in second place. It's Heeps in third under pressure from Jason Edwards. Edwards tries the inside on bend 2. I don't think that will work though, because round the outside again goes Cameron Heeps, but it's Jody Scott here, the Oxford Charger, riding for the REDCAR Bears, who is storming clear here from Luke Killeen in Heat 12, and this could do some damage to Oxford here with Scott a mile clear out in front. Second place is Killeen. Third, packing the places, Cameron Heeps, but Scott's got himself really wound up here in Heat 12. Super ride there on the first 2 turns, because Killeen looked like he made the start. It looks like being another shared heat here in Heat 12 to maintain the 2-point lead, with Jason Edwards at the back, but his teammate, the reserve, the unreserved, doing a storming job. Jody Scott in Heat 12 for the Bears. Second place goes to Luke Killeen. Third place, Cameron Heeps, Jason Edwards at the back, 3 apiece in Heat 12. Stunning ride by Jody Scott, who may, with that ride, have booked himself in for Heat 14, you would say, when that will be off the outside as well. And that will be off the outside rather than gate 2, which he came off there, but he certainly showed when he got to the outside going, that really worked out for him. Jody Scott, excellent ride, will get the applause of the home crowd as well. Very popular around Oxford, though perhaps not quite as popular for a moment there with that win, but a great effort by the REDCAR reserve. Jody Scott winning Heat 12, second Luke Killeen, third Cameron Heeps, Jason Edwards second successive last place at the back. 3 apiece, 38-34 to Oxford on the night, 82-80 to REDCAR on aggregate. Watch this now from Jody Scott on gate 2 in yellow. Under red, Luke Killeen jumps off the line very well. Jody Scott decides very early to head out wide off the second bend. And there he goes. Jody Scott into the lead into bend 3. But Jason Edwards can't make it from gate 4. Gate 4 is tough, there's no question about that. And Francis Gusts will have gate 4 in Heat 13. Oxford at the moment being frustrated there. Heat advantages have run out. Their last advantage was in Heat 8. Since then we've had a REDCAR 4-2 and 3 successive 3-alls. So is there any break to that deadlock here in Heat 13? Sam Masters in red has a crucial job to do from gate 2. starting in between Charles Wright and Danny King. Redcar with their big guns in play in Heat 13, Wright and King. You have to assume they'll still use Edwards in Heat 14 and may well use Scott to replace Piper. So Charles Wright here goes off the inside gate in white. Sam Masters in red off gate 2. Danny King in yellow off gate 3. And Francis Gusts in blue off the outside. 4 points Oxford lead on the night. 2 points Redcar lead on aggregate. Redcar get a big result somewhere, like a 5-1 for example. That's going to put themselves massively in the driving seat. Even a 4-2 at this stage could be damaging for the Oxford Cheetahs. You do have to wonder if Jody SCOTT there has pulled off the ride that really does turn this meeting. You can't turn a meeting on a 3-3, but when your third heat leader on the night, Jason Edwards, runs in last place and your reserve goes out and wins the race and wins it by a distance, then that is very telling indeed, or could be, in the tie. But still time for Oxford to come back in the final 3 heats. Only 2 points down on aggregate. Need something big here from Gus around the outside. Need their skipper from gate 2 as well. Charles Wright inside, Sam Masters gate 2, Danny King gate 3, Francis Gus outside, Heat 13 gets underway, and Masters drops off the line pretty well. Masters gets there in front of Charles Wright, tries to move the side off the second bend, and Charles Wright does lead here from Sam Masters, with Danny King going for the inside on bends 3 and 4, forcing Masters out wide around that top turn. Wright is there with the lead, Masters trying to go all the way around him, and so far Redcar first and third, Masters going wide, Danny King tries to get back in, Masters slingshotting back round him into second place, but Redcar have a 4-2 going at the moment, and that could be good news for them. It would take them 4 in front with 2 heats to go, and Charles Wright leads from Sam Masters with King in third. Masters trying all he can to get back alongside the Redcar skipper, but Charles Wright made it work there from the inside. Wright on the inside of Masters in the early stages, Masters having to fend off King. Gus couldn't make it from 4, which has been very tough indeed, and with 1 lap to go, Redcar are set to extend their aggregate lead to 4 points as Wright is set for his third winning ride in succession. Off the final bend they come. It's Charles Wright over Sam Masters with Danny King third, Francis Gus out the back, and that's a big result there for the REDCAR Bears in Heat 13. They narrow the gap of the night to 2 points, but far more importantly, they're 4 points in front on aggregate with just 2 heats to go, and the pressure now big time on the Oxford Cheetahs in Heat 14 after Charles Wright wins Heat 13 from Sam Masters. Looked like Masters might just have made it there from gate 2, but Wright with a clever ride on the inside to take the lead and take the win. Wright wins Heat 13, big ride from the REDCAR number 1, Sam Masters second, Danny King third over Francis Gust, 4-2 to the Bears. Oxford 40, REDCAR 38 with 2 heats to go. REDCAR lead 86-82 on aggregate. Watch this first turn here between the two number 1s here, 2 big guns off gates 1 and 2, because Masters did a great job from the start there to get his nose just in front, but then Charles Wright just held the inside off the bend, found the line, found the drive, and then Masters having to make sure he got the better of Danny King, who did an important role there, Danny King, for REDCAR, forcing Masters out wide. And with Wright controlling the race, Danny King again almost alongside him. That third place for King is a big point for REDCAR. Confirmation that Jason Edwards goes in white as a rider replacement for REDCAR, and also there's going to be a reserve change in yellow. Jody SCOTT is going in yellow, there he is on track. McDiarmid and KNUDSEN going for Oxford, and this is the race where the tie could be decided. 4 points in it in REDCAR's favour, 86-82, so any kind of advantage here for REDCAR and they will go through to the final. A 3-3 leaves it open for Oxford, but they need an advantage really to Oxford here in this race, because it's hard to see where an advantage comes from for Oxford in Heat 15 against Wright and King, who will have gate choice in that one. So Oxford have 1 and 3 here, McDiarmid and KNUDSEN against Edwards and SCOTT, and whilst a 3-3 will keep things alive and give them the chance to get to a superheat with a 5-way in Heat 15, you have to say that realistically Oxford here could do with a race advantage like they'd never got one before. Heat number 14, waiting for Jason Edwards, and a somewhat peculiar night here, Jason, with 5 points from his first 2 rides and then nothing from his next 2. And he'll be going off gate 2 here, plenty of time to make it round. And here is the lineup for a potentially crucial heat 14. Jonas KNUDSEN in blue off the inside. Jason Edwards in white off gate 2. Mitch McDiarmid in red off gate 3. And Jody SCOTT in yellow off the outside. 40-38 on the night, but REDCAR lead 86-82. Race advantage here for the Bears takes them to an unassailable situation. That's not quite true, because a 3-2 to REDCAR here would put them 5 points in front on aggregate, and that would mean a 5-0 could tie things. But then I'm just talking about nothing there. So realistically, 4-2 or a 5-1 here for the REDCAR Bears, and that means they win the cup tie and move through into the final. Oxford off gates 1 and 3 here. Lead starts from KNUDSEN and McDiarmid. In between them there, Jason Edwards on gate 2, Jody SCOTT on the outside. Crucial heat 14 now at the start line, and away they go. And Oxford do make the start. KNUDSEN makes the start, and McDiarmid is trying to get round Edwards, and he's done so. Oxford on a 5-1 in heat 14. KNUDSEN with the advantage. McDiarmid going round his teammates in second place round the outside, and KNUDSEN knows he's there, knows McDiarmid's there. And now what can the REDCAR Bears do about it here in heat 14? SCOTT in third place, Edwards at the back, and Oxford getting just what they want here in heat 14. But there's going to be a challenge here, no question about that. A big challenge from Jody SCOTT, who goes inside Jonas KNUDSEN. Wants a ride by SCOTT. KNUDSEN tries to turn back though off the fourth bend, but Jody SCOTT thinks can split them, and he's actually keen to do more than that. He's keen to try and get him. Mitch McDiarmid as well. That's some ride there by Jody SCOTT, and now he's going for the outside up on turns 3 and 4. McDiarmid needs to cover him off, and Jody SCOTT goes down heavily on the fourth turn as the Oxford Cheetahs move on a 5-1 situation, and Jody SCOTT is down. The red lights are on. You have to believe the race there will be awarded as a 5-1, with Oxford clearly in front and heading forward. But let's keep our fingers crossed first of all for young Jody SCOTT, who had ridden superbly to pass Jonas KNUDSEN, and he was giving it his all to try and get to McDiarmid as well. I think the REDCAR management may well say, well, in the end, take the second place and put your faith in the big boys in heat 15 to go and win it for us. But you can't knock the racing instinct there. Jody SCOTT doing what he could, but coming to grief, and let's hope he's going to be okay, because he came down really heavily up on the fourth turn. A dramatic moment in this semi-final, and we will await news obviously of Jody's condition. Let's hope he's going to be okay, and also a decision from the referee, which you would imagine would be an awarded race, because McDiarmid and KNUDSEN, once the fact that Jody SCOTT had fallen, were well clear of Jason Edwards, and if that's the case, then this semi-final would be all level with 1 heat to go. So that is to be confirmed at this stage. Mitch McDiarmid back into the pits, joining Jonas KNUDSEN there. Bit of a fist bump with them. Cameron Heeps on track. As I say, thoughts with Jody SCOTT as the bike has been retrieved, giving it everything there. He dived inside Jonas KNUDSEN heading into the third bend. That was a big shock, I'm sure, for the Oxford Cheetahs, and then he was trying to get the outside line going to pass Mitch McDiarmid. But you know, when the track is like this, when there is a dirt line around the outside, it can spit you off if you get yourself in trouble, and unfortunately that's what happened there for young Jody SCOTT, who yesterday had the excitement and the triumph of captaining Oxford Chargers to the NDL title, but now he gets himself into a crash, unfortunately. I can tell you that the race will be awarded as a 5-1 to the Oxford Cheetahs. Mitch McDiarmid and Jonas KNUDSEN with a 5-1. Jason Edwards awarded third place with Jody SCOTT disqualified, and that means that it's 45-39 with 1 race to go, and it's 87 all with 1 race to go. There's confirmation of the result. Jonas KNUDSEN is awarded, in fact it's Mitch McDiarmid who's the race winner. McDiarmid is the winner with KNUDSEN in second place. Jason Edwards was third with Jody SCOTT disqualified. The crash coming there in time for the referee to award the race, the end of lap 3. So definitely, if the leader has completed 2 laps, the race can be awarded. Certainly when they were clearly on a 5-1, that was very much the case there for Oxford. So it's going to go right down to the wire, as we thought it would, and we finally get a 5-1. But the best news of all there is Jody SCOTT walking in. He's certainly giving himself a knock, but on his feet and being helped back into the pits, and he'll get a big round of applause from everyone here at Oxford. Very, very popular indeed. And here we can see what went on. So he got the better of KNUDSEN, now he's trying the outside on the third and fourth bend, and There is room to go there but that's where it just locks up and spits him down. And I think the bike actually, unfortunately, clips him on the way through. I think that's what made it worse, actually, that secondary impact from the bike. But thankfully, able to walk away from a nasty fall and to wave to the crowd as well. Knowing Speedway riders like I know them, his thought will be just devastation about the crash, because had it not been for that, then he would have at least split the home duo, it appeared, and take REDCAR into the final race in front. As it is, we are now set for a big finish in Heat 15. And will it be the finish? Because scores level, 87 all. And now REDCAR will be relying on Charles Wright and Danny King. So the riders coming out to make sure that Jody Scott's okay. He's walking back in, that's the most important thing. I think he'll go into the medical room now, actually, for a check over. But seeing him back on his feet is the most important thing there from that incident. Luke Killeen, I think, is explaining to Mitch McDiarmid what happened, because Mitch McDiarmid wouldn't have seen it himself. He was just in front, and now the Oxford riders will come together and they have a call to make as to who goes out in Heat 15 with Sam Masters. Do they go with McDiarmid, who's just made a good start there? You can see that Danny King's all set to go in yellow. So who do Oxford go with in Heat 15? Kye Thomson has been a good guest, hasn't ridden since Heat 10. Looking for just the signs of who's preparing themselves here. Thomson has scored 7 from 4, Killeen 5 from 4, McDiarmid 8 from 4. Those are the realistic options here. We can see Sam Masters going red, and Kye Thomson gets the blue helmet colour on, and Kye Thomson here will go in blue in Heat 15 up against Charles Wright and Danny King. So that's confirmation of the lineup. We are awaiting gate position confirmation, and it will be 1 and 3 for the REDCAR Bears. So Sam Masters off gate 2, Kye Thomson off gate 4, Charles Wright off gate 1, and Danny King off gate 3. That is the lineup and gates for this last heat decider in the MAXICAB Knockout Cup semi-final. Sam Masters and Kye Thomson, and you have to say, if you're Kye Thomson, are you already thinking about the cutback here? Gets the encouragement there from Cameron Heeps as the Oxford Cheetahs walk out for this final race. Will it be the final race of the cup tie? Danny King and Charles Wright having words with each other. I'm sure they'll be saying if one of you gets out in front, then go on and win the race. In this case, if it was super heat territory, of course, then second and third becomes oh so important. 87 points all on aggregate. Any advantage here for either side, and they go through. The semi-final goes right down to the wire. Good performance by Oxford given current form leading into this meeting. They've really raised themselves for these last two meetings. REDCAR, don't forget, were 14 points in front into the closing stages. 5 heats to go on Friday. Now here we are, all level. Heat 15 sponsored by Cab Direct. Charles Wright in white off the inside. Sam Masters in red off gate 2. Danny King in yellow off gate 3. And Kye Thomson in blue off the outside. Forget 45-39. Look at 87-87. Any advantage here for either side. And they have a cup final to look forward to against the Poole Pirates. But if we do get a shared heat in Heat 15, then we would go further on to a super heat. Danny King with 12 points from 5 rides off gate 3. Charles Wright off the inside with 11 from 4. Kye Thomson there, I think he is the second best rider for Oxford tonight, but the only concern is he's not raced since Heat 10. Sam Masters raced in Heat 13 where he was edged out by Charles Wright, who made the inside work. They're on the same gate positions as they were then. Masters made a really good drop off gate 2, but Wright just got alongside him into the first bend and moved him aside. Counting down to a crucial Heat 15 in the MAXICAB Knockout Cup semi-final second leg with the scores all level. How are your nerves fans in the stadium, fans watching with us on the live stream. Who's going to make the Knockout Cup final? Wright, Masters, King and Thomson at the start line for Heat 15. Green light and away they go. And Wright lifts off the inside and Masters gets there in front of him. Thomson's missed out though from the start, so Masters with the lead. Danny King tries the outside up off the second bend. It's King in second place, it's Wright in third, and now can Kye Thomson fight his way through from the back? Almost to the fence there. Kye Thomson maintains control. Masters race leads as things stand. We're heading for a super heat. It's Masters leading from King in second place, Wright in third. Great job by Sam Masters to make it from gate 2 over Charles Wright this time. It's Masters from King, it's Wright in third. Thomson won't get into the equation from there, so 2 laps to go for Sam Masters to bring this home for a level tie and to take us into one more race. He looked over his shoulder, sees Danny King alongside him, Charles Wright in third place, Kye Thomson at the back. 1 lap to go now for Sam Masters. King in second, Wright in third. Thomson couldn't make it from gate 4. The coin toss for the superheat could be oh so important. Sam Masters race leads into bends 3 and 4 for the final time. Masters will win Heat 15 from Danny King. Charles Wright in third place. It's the end of the match. It's not the end of the tie, because 48-42 to the Oxford Cheetahs means it's 90 points apiece overall, and we are heading for a superheat. Sam Masters winning Heat 15 from Danny King. Charles Wright in third place. A shared heat there, and this dramatic Cup semi-final goes on for one more race. 90 points all, and we will have a race on to decide it in the superheat. Brilliant ride by Sam Masters. Made the start from gate 2 over Charles Wright. Danny King came through and finished in second place. Charles Wright third with Kye Thomson at the back, and he couldn't make it work from the outside gate. So the question will be in the Oxford camp, do they go with Kye Thomson again in the superheat, or do they give somebody else a go? I'm sure REDCAR will go Wright and King once again. They've both been outstanding tonight. Here's how it happened in Heat 15 with Sam Masters off gate 2. Almost a repeat here of Heat 13, but this time he just got that bit further in front into the bend and got that front wheel on the white line, and that meant that Charles Wright couldn't force his way through. Danny King went round his teammate, but never any threat of Masters being overhauled there. Thomson gave it the big one round the outside, but almost put himself in the fence the same way as Jody SCOTT did in the previous race, and that forced him out of contention. So I mentioned during that race, the coin toss for the superheat Heat 16 is going to be absolutely pivotal, because whoever wins that coin toss is going to take gates 1 and 3. I think they might have a track grade before the superheat, but that coin toss is going to have everything riding on it, you would say, because whoever's off gate 4 is going to have such a tough job to do in a strong lineup. And will Oxford go with Masters and Thomson again? They'll certainly go Masters. Will they go Thomson? Will they go Mitch McDiarmid? Well, one race to sort things out. 90 points all after 30 heats between the Cheetahs and the Bears across these two meetings. And just have a look at the atmosphere across the pit lane. Charles Wright, Jason Edwards down there looking at the machine. Jake Mulford sat down. Just moving back into the pit bay now. But REDCAR certainly be going with their big 2 in the superheat. In the old days, in the cup, you would have a cup replay. You do it all again, home and away. But those days have gone. All gets resolved on the night. Look now into the home pits with Kye Thomson still with the blue helmet colour on, so it looks like he's going to be going again. But which way will the gate pit go? Because that could be the crucial factor, because bearing in mind, if we had a repeat of Heat 15, if it was Masters winning but Wright and King second and third, then that would be REDCAR going through, because the superheat second and third trumps first and fourth. So that is a crucial moment when we find out who's going from which gates in the superheat. Job done for most of the riders, waiting to see if they have anything to go. Any more meetings to go this season for the Oxford boys. Peter Schroeck walking around the pits now. Have to give the riders a bit of time to turn things around, and also the track being graded before this Superheat, which will determine once and for all who is going through into the MAXICAB Knockout Cup final. Thomson studying the track conditions, really couldn't do a lot there in Heat 15 from the outside gate. He tried all he could on turns 3 and 4, but almost buried himself in the bend 4 air fence. So Richard Palmer talking to the crowd, explaining what's going to be going on here. And we can confirm it is the same lineup as Heat 15. Sam Masters, Kye Thomson, Charles Wright and Danny King. But what we can't confirm yet is the gate positions, which require a further coin toss. Could be the crucial factor in this tie. I think if REDCAR win the coin toss and get 1 and 3, then they'll be fairly confident, based on what we saw in Heat 15, they can get the job done. If it's Oxford 1 and 3, then things could go the other way. And of course, any retirement, breakdown, fall, disqualification, that rider comes last effectively, and that basically resolves the Superheat. So everything to go for here. Sam Masters has had 5 rides so far, scored 12, paid 13 from 5 rides. Kye Thomson has scored 7 from 5, including that tough Heat 15. On the REDCAR team, Danny King has scored 14 from 6 and Charles Wright has scored 12 and 1 from 5. Peter Schroeck and Gavin PARR just trying to organise who is going where. A lot of the toss is just being coin toss taking place at the moment. Actually, you can see that taking place. And there's been a lot of hand waving there, and eventually hand shaking. And Sam Masters gets the red helmet colour on, and Oxford did win the toss there. I thought that was from the hand gesture. I thought that was the case. So Peter Schroeck making his way back in, signalling 1 and 3 to his riders, signalling gate 3 to Kye Thomson. It's 1 and 3 for Oxford in this Superheat. So that does change the equation slightly compared to Heat 15, when it was the Bears on 1 and 3, and Wright and King packed in behind Masters. This time, a bit different, and it's fair to say, 3rd place overall is the key in a Superheat. Not finishing last is the most important. Sam Masters chatting away to Kye Thomson. Tractor leaving the circuit. Bikes being prepared. So many twists and turns. Look back at a couple of falls during the main meeting, with Luke Killeen coming down in Heat 9, with Jody SCOTT coming down in Heat 14. Both sides will look back on those, or more likely the side that goes out of the cup will look back at that. And Kye Thomson on his machine, on his way. The others join in. We come on track for the big Superheat here at Cowley to sort out who goes through to the MAXICAB Knockout Cup final. Kye Thomson, the Oxford guest. I'm sure if he gets them through here, he'll get him more guest bookings in the final. He's off gate 3 this time. Sam Masters off the inside in red off gate 1. Charles Wright in white off gate 2 for the Bears. Kye Thomson in blue off gate 3 for Oxford. Danny King in yellow off the outside. Now he has the job of what to do off gate 4. The difficult gate 4 here. He scored 14 points from 6 tries, Danny King. But is he going to try the big blast around the outside, or is he going to try and cut back? There must be a plan in Danny King's mind here. Very experienced rider, knows, been there, seen it and done it. These two sets of teammates will have discussed what the tactics are for this superheat, where not coming last is the crucial thing to see who goes through to the MAXICAB Knockout Cup final. Heat 15, Sam Masters on the inside gate. Home fans getting behind him. Charles Wright off gate 2. Kye Thomson off gate 3. Danny King off the outside. Poole still don't know who they're going to meet in the Knockout Cup final, but they should know in a couple of minutes' time. It's been a long night at Bet Goodman Oxford Stadium. A big delay to the start of the meeting, but now we come down to one race to decide a superheat where not finishing last is the crucial factor. Who's it going to be? Masters on the inside, Wright on gate 2, Thomson gate 3, King on the outside. Superheat at Oxford for the place in the Knockout Cup final. Masters makes a great start. King makes quite a good one from the outside. Thompson on the inside. Masters almost turns square there on turn 2, and the Bears go into second and third places. But Kye Thomson tries the inside now on Charles Wright going into bend 3, and we could have drama here. A Sam Masters race leads, and Kye Thomson goes to third place in front of Charles Wright. Wright tries the outside to get back at him. It's Masters with the lead. Danny King in second, and Wright swings back round the outside of Thomson into third. And REDCAR here have what they want in the superheat. A Sam Masters race leads. Danny King trying the inside run. REDCAR second and third. For a moment there, Kye Thomson was through. He's still trying the inside for all he's worth, trying to force his way back through. Wright covers him off. At the moment, it's Masters from King. King's got the second, Wright's got the third, and we've got one lap to go. And again, Kye Thomson tries to get through on the inside of Charles Wright. Masters still with the lead. Thomson doing all he can to force his way through it again. Covered off by Charles Wright. Up the back straight they go. Sam Masters from Danny King. Charles Wright in third place. Thomson tries the inside off the final bend. Here comes Kye Thomson. Charles Wright's just there. Charles Wright's just there behind Danny King for the shared heat, effectively in the superheat, which takes REDCAR into the MAXICAB Knockout Cup final. Fabulous effort there by Kye Thomson, and Charles Wright just closing him down on the run to the line, and REDCAR make it through 5-4 in the superheat. Effectively a 3-3, as I say. Kye Thomson doing all he could. The 5-4 in the superheat. Danny King and Charles Wright get the job done for the REDCAR Bears, and while they were taken close by the Oxford Cheetahs in this semi-final, going right down to the wire, Sam Masters winning that superheat, 4 points there, but Danny King and Charles Wright doing just enough for second and third over Kye Thomson, who gave it absolutely everything. He had to go for the inside, that was where he was set up for, and so nearly off that final turn he managed to get his way through, but it finishes in heartbreak for the Oxford Cheetahs. Their season comes to an end on right at the end, really, on the line. Charles Wright doing enough to take REDCAR into the cup final, where they will face Poole. Their season has got lots more to go in October. For the Oxford Cheetahs, that is the end of their campaign. A tough campaign, seeing them fall just short in the cup of a final place. And what a dramatic semi-final it was. Fabulous stuff here. A great superheat. Great drama with Kye Thomson putting it all in for the home side, but just not quite enough. REDCAR Bears scored 42 points on the night. Charles Wright scored 12 plus 1. Jake Mulford had 3. Jason Edwards scored 6. They used RR for Eric Riss. Danny King scored 14. Wright and King doing the job in the superheat. Jody SCOTT scored 4. That race win, followed by the exclusion in his last ride. And Ace Piper scored 3. 42 points for them. Oxford Cheetahs winners on the night in the second leg, scoring 48. Sam Masters with 12 plus 1. Kye Thomson, a good guest, with 7 points. Luke Killeen scored 5. Mitch McDIARMID had 8. Francis Gusts scored 4. Jonas KNUDSEN 7 plus 3. And Cameron Heeps 5+1. Oxford certainly performed well on the night for a 48-42 home win, but REDCAR, wow, 90 points apiece and winning it in a superheat, the Bears, with Danny King and Charles Wright taking it over Kye Thomson in that tremendous battle, with Thomson trying to force his way through, couldn't quite find his way. So the Oxford Cheetahs season comes to an end with that agonising defeat in the superheat. We wish REDCAR Bears the best of luck in the final when they'll take on the Poole Pirates. They could still have several trophies to win this season. They're battling on. Oxford, a tough campaign, comes to an end after a dramatic night here at Bet Goodwin, Oxford Stadium. REDCAR go through in a superheat after a 90 points all draw. That about wraps up the action here from Oxford tonight. So for me, Dave Rowe, and Laura Pollard in the pits, we thank you for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed the action. Thanks for sticking with it. It was certainly worth the wait after the track delay, the work that was carried out to make the circuit raceable. It certainly was. But it's the REDCAR Bears who are walking out to celebrate with their fans after a nervous, tense evening goes their way. We wish them well, as I say, for the MAXICAB Knockout Cup final. REDCAR edge it through in a superheat. And from Watersfield, Oxford, it's a very good night.